Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex. Hello, one and all. Happy Friday. TGIF Friday. So, let's see who's here. Mad World, Jan Martin. Hello to Elaine Parker, Ala Quinn, Ala Quinette. Okay, and Sonia Alexander, Victoria Fabre. Hello to Catherine Bryant. Hello, H. Knight, Rodney Jackson, Fancy, Rosa Roberts, Connie Balmer, Annie Bennett. Hello, Annie Bennett. Judi, let me see. Okay. Hi, Judy. And Jacqueline Baltimore, Joan Garcia. Hello to Rosanna Smith, Vinny Blair, and Sherry and Sade. Thank you for clicking on my channel. And who else is here? Emma D. Okay, Vinny Blair. Oh, I said that right. Okay, looks like I'm starting to repeat myself. So why don't I just? Oh, Church Nelly. Hey, Church Nelly. Rosa Roberts. Yeah, I think I'm starting to repeat myself, so I might as well get on with it. Okay, Francilia Mosley, hello. Sussex Squad Sister, hello, Sussex Squad Sister. I like that handle. Okay, Dorothy Ross is here. Hello, Kathy. Hello, Kathy. And Black Queen is here. Very good. All right, you guys. Sorry for the late start today. I forgot I didn't schedule at all, did I? But yeah, I took care of that. So let me see. April R. Coleman, Elizabeth Daniels. Oh, Legs is here. Very good. And Legs wants to say hi to a few people. And let me see. Marine Reed. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put the link in place in case anybody wants to share their personal feelings today. I do remind you guys to limit your time. I hope this is the right link. So I'm going to cover a few things and then let me post that link to the top of the chat. So I have pegged it to the top of the chat. And if you would like to share your live comment today, I say, why not? Today is as good a day as any. So, with that being said, let me, hey, Mary H., let me go ahead and cover some things right now. All right, let me get over here then. So, leave it to the squad. Leave it to the squad. Anne Boleyn, who styles herself brazen hussy. British media, Netflix must put disclaimer on The Crown. And Netflix replies with crickets. Netflix require Netflix reply sounds a lot like crickets. That's what Netflix has to say about that. Let's see. Shelly L. Hello. Leslie Millsap. Hello. Yes, it seems as though Netflix reply sounds a lot like crickets. It's beginning to sound a lot like crickets. Hello, VS Speaks Royally. VS, I hear that Netflix has replied to the British media, and it all has to do with the idea of putting a disclaimer on the crown. And their response is, it's beginning to sound a lot like crickets every time they show a preview of the Netflix series, The Crown. It seems to make everybody frown. It's beginning to sound a lot like crickets. Oh, okay. All right, that was fun. It's beginning to sound a lot like crickets. Where have I heard that song before? It's beginning to sound a lot like crickets. Who do they think they are? Exactly who do they think they are? Who do they suppose they toy with? We do not suffer fools lightly, those ruffians. How dare they? How dare they? How dare any of them? Church Nelly, the one squatty I suspect keeps a razor in their shoe during some of those house parties. I don't know if I'm going to defer to you for actions about this, but thank you so much for your input. Oh, so Miss VN Speaks Royally says, hello, everyone. There have been so many TV shows, movies, or documentaries on the royal family. Why does the crown bother them so? Hmm, so much truth behind their scripts. I think so. I think so. And there may be a reason, why things have soured, as they say. And I will show you that very soon. But yeah, um, their intentions were to have Netflix add a disclaimer. And of course, by them pushing this narrative, it is a way to make sure that people get this idea in their heads that none of this is true. But if you ask me, the anti Netflix campaign is really an anti American campaign. That's what it seems like to me. If you are anti Netflix, then you are being anti American because well, according to Judi Dench, let's see, is it here that she says, Dame Judi Dench has written a letter to the Times calling on Netflix to insert a disclaimer on The Crown to say it's a fictionalized drama. This, she writes, would be a mark of respect for the Queen and help preserve the streamer's reputation in the UK. I don't think we're interested in what they're, well, at least I'm not, but then again, I'm not Netflix. However, let me point out that this is just yet another opportunity to weaponize the Queen's status as the sweet old lady. Now it's the sweet old lady who just passed away. Before they were weaponizing the Queen's age. Now they are weaponizing the idea of the Queen as this holier than thou, this benevolent figure, this deity that should not have any mention in history unless you go out of your way, leaps and bounds, to explain that this simply is not a truthful tale of the Sussex clan. I'm not the Sussex, but the royal family. When indeed we know that it is, of course, loosely based on actual events. Yeah, we don't have the conversations, but we do know that certain things have happened. And oh, Miss VS speaks royally would like to chime in. I can't wait to hear this. Hello, Miss VS Speaks Royally. Welcome to Royal Sussex. And thank you for joining us, even though you are very busy with your own channel, Miss VS Speaks Royally, as well as everything else in your life. But you have taken the time to be with us here today, and I really appreciate it. What say you, Miss VS Speaks Royally? Uh-oh, did I put you in or no? Yeah, you're up there. Oh, are you ready? Did I do something wrong? Let me see. Uh-oh, I'm getting a private message. Oh, okay. So she's working something out here. Give her just a moment and she is going to join us. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, she'll come back for us. So anyway, let me say hello to a couple of more people. Shelly L says she should show that same energy about the British tabloids that literally make millions off of the lies they peddle. Yes, that's absolutely right. They do peddle lies on the daily. They actually try to heighten events that may or may not happen. I think, okay, here we go. And Miss VS is back. And before you
I
say,
hope.
yes, okay, all right. But give me 1 second. I want to make sure I get Legs super chat before it
Okay.
disappears. Things are coming in fast. I thought I slowed down the comments, but maybe I didn't. Lex says it's weird for them to pick a fight with Netflix. Peter Morgan, who has a CBE, is a British writer, and Tampon just doesn't want the negative attention. Thank you so much, Legs, for the super chat, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And one more super chat, if you don't mind, Miss BS. Hello, Baron. Have you heard from? No, Sherry Ware. I have not heard from her in maybe a week. But if I can get in touch with her, I will try. Let me see. Also, another suitcase girl coming out of the woodwork to lie on Meg. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, but you know what? It is a chance for them to actually draw attention to whatever careers they have right now or whatever their projects they're working on. So who should be surprised by that? But thank you so much, Black Queen, and thank you for being a member and watching Royal Sussex. And now I am going to yield to Miss VS Speaks Royally. Hello, Miss VS Speaks Royally. Uh-oh, did I lose her again? I'm so
Baron,
sorry.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I
Okay,
went to
thank you.
run and turn down the volume on the TV in case it was, too much in the
Oh,
back.
okay. I appreciate that. So
So
what's mhm.
thank you for having me up.
Thank you
And
for
for all
being
the
here.
shout outs that you give me, I really do appreciate it.
And they're
Um,
well deserved.
oh, thank you. Thank you. So I'm just more tickled at how upset the folks in the UK that live in palaces are over the crown when if they had to remain silent and not said anything, because I thought there was a never complain little thing protocol in place, that Netflix probably wouldn't even be going as hard as they are about to go. So
Well,
they kind of
with
brought a little
that,
bit of that on them.
let me just add, isn't it about time that, and we know what, we haven't seen it yet, but isn't it about time they have more of a critical eye on that family, that they use more of a critical voice or at least a more truthful, accurate voice with that family rather than building them up and helping their brand and, of course, humanizing Charles? Maybe it's about time that they show the actual blood and guts and tears that make up that institution, because I think they have gone too easy on them in the past. And I would like to see a little bit more of the royal family that Princess Diana was looking at when she was in that
Right.
institution
And Megan
before,
endured. Hmm.
before she died
Um,
mysteriously.
I do agree with you that it's about time. I know that on HBO they've had several different. I don't know what you want to call them. It's almost like the crown to me. So the queen was one, and it went through from the time of Diana's death, and then they did like a reversal, showing
Yes.
that the family went through that whole thing. But nobody had any heat over that. But of course, they weren't talking about his current wife either. But okay, I'm going to move on from that. But yeah, it's about time they get a little heat and stop the whole "we are the perfect family" because that's just doesn't exist in life. And those divorces all in the one year that the castle burned down, yeah, that kind of
Hmm.
speaks volumes. Mm-hmm.
And didn't the Queen help elevate and uplift Elizabeth II's reputation? It showed that she was this dutiful grandmother to the grandkids. It also implied that she was so stuck on protocol that because of her duty toward the country, she could not see the amount of what do you call it, the grief that had stricken the nation. She was blind to that because her first order of business was to take care of the kids and to maintain the tradition of being in Balmoral and such. I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was quite humanizing. And of course, those conversations may or may not have happened. Some of those things may or may not have been said. Certain scenes may or may not have actually played out in real life, but yet, because it was so humanizing to QE2, then of
Mm-hmm.
course there was no need for anyone to say that, oh, this is a dramatization, it's not a
True.
documentary, and you crazy Americans, you all will probably think. That's what insults me, is the idea that they seem to think that we would take it as the gospel, even though we have watched all these other dramatizations, but all of a sudden this one is the one where we'll say, "Oh yeah, that really happened. Oh, that's real."
Exactly. I mean, Lifetime has had their little movies regarding Harry and Meghan and the others, okay, up through their engagement. So, but we're to believe everything that was the anti American just is woven into everything almost. So,
Hmm.
I guess they really didn't get over the war.
Apparently not. Even though they lost the war and they love to consider us as just part of the family and such, it seems as though they seem to have an implied ownership of our thoughts and minds, and that if we're not, I guess, dancing to the music of the institution, then somehow we have been found wanting in our characters or something, which is really strange. I mean, but there was a
Very.
war. And you know who says that all the time is Megan McCain. She says, "Didn't we fight a war? Why'd you know?" And she was so matter of fact, nowadays her pro Megan stance that she had seems rather refreshing compared to the lack of any pro Megan stance that you see from
When
the
she was on
people
The
on
View.
today.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
very well, maybe some are paid to be a little oh, my apologies for my dog that's about to start barking because she sees somebody moving. um I
Oh, wait
just
till she hear me singing.
she's heard you before, don't worry.
It's beginning to look a lot. Wait, no, no, no. It's
No,
beginning to
that's the wrong
sound a
song,
lot
Darren.
like crickets.
That's the wrong song. With the energy that they're giving, it's we're gonna burn this mother down. Okay,
Hey.
okay. That's the energy they're giving, and that's the energy that they're going to get back. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, mind you, I probably won't see. Um, I haven't watched The Crown before, so I don't even care to really.
What?
Yeah, I've
What?
not watched it. No.
What? You haven't watched it? What?
Mm-mm. I really haven't. Yeah, that family doesn't.
Oh no. Well,
Yeah, I've seen parts of it. Now,
uh-huh.
I did see parts where, and this is at the time I was doing all my little research around, when Megan was about to join, and I was just like, oh my goodness. But the queen, when she became queen and came home, and her sister
Mhm.
had to curtsy to her, like step aside and then curtsy to her.
Mhm.
And then when the grandmother did that, that scene kind of took me because it
Right.
gave me chills. But yeah, that's about the most that and I could see that on YouTube. I don't, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, um, I, I heard another content creator say that, and I'm not saying this is your situation, but another content creator who is a squatty said, I watched the first season and it was boring, and I haven't watched any other. And I understand that, but see, I love the cinematography. I thought, and everybody, even the critics say that it is very well made. So I could only say that when they, especially the flashbacks and such, well, it's all a flashback really,
Yeah, it is
but
all a flashback. But the wedding, Margaret's wedding, that's the kind of stuff. Okay, I see the
mhm.
scene and then I move on.
Yeah, it was very well made. So that much I have to
Mm.
say that
I live
for
vicariously
anybody.
through all of you, Baron, who do
Oh,
that.
okay, okay.
So I'll enjoy. I, I have so much going on, but I would just enjoy that. I enjoy
Right,
the commentary and just picking up on what's happened. We already know the characters.
exactly.
Okay, there you go. I don't need to
Yeah.
say any more.
Well,
So
yeah, and I've watched so many of those. Before they,
yes, I get
treated
you.
Meghan in such a way. I
Hmm.
was such an Anglophile, and you know what, and I'm still a bit of an Anglophile, but I can't go back to the way I was before. Once you become a pickle, you can never become a cucumber again. So now that they
So
have
true.
yeah, now that they have treated Megan in such a way, I cannot unsee the treachery of that family. And so I don't have that goodwill that I had before. And plus, with all of the information we have nowadays about how direct the royal family's
Roll.
involvement was with the
Yes.
slave trade, I never
Yeah.
heard that before the queen died. I mean, I've known about all of the, aristocrats and such, but I didn't know that in so many places in history they directly were able to get their coins from the
Hmm.
slave trade. And that's, I think it was oh gosh, who was it? It was the Duke of York, and I believe he became king, whatever he was. But even that particular Duke of York owned interest in a plantation. So yeah, they have been enriched by the slave trade, and that is something I wasn't aware of. I wanted to believe that they were above that, but apparently
Oh,
not.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
they
it
were the
trickles
signatories of
down.
it.
Exactly. And maybe because of the history and the war that we won, and then Megan walking over a certain point in the chapel that she had no
Hmm.
point but to walk over that space in the chapel.
Right,
Maybe that
right.
has driven them even madder, but I know for me, during the time of Diana's passing, that I was over here cheering if they, I really thought they were going to get rid of the monarchy at that point, because it was like, where is she? I'm over here in America, like, where is the queen? Why isn't she saying something? Like, this
Hmm.
is the mother of your grandchildren, like a future king's mom. Like, where are you? You couldn't have just
Yeah.
disappeared. And obviously, the whole thing was a facade, in my opinion, for the good grandmother, the doting grandmother,
Hmm.
um, because you would have stood up a little bit more and not had them walk behind that casket. Okay, that's my
Yeah.
comment.
There's a lot of posturing from that family, and they know how to work the cameras. Like when Charles opened Parliament that last time, and he's sitting there looking like he's trying to, squeeze one out on the toilet or something, had that grimace on his face. Well, obviously, that was a bunch of acting like, oh, this burden is so horrible. How can I dare do this job while my mother
So
is
he's
ill?
going to float in there
Uh-huh.
as king. He has been on cloud 20,000 since the moment.
Uh-huh.
And it's been very obvious. So,
Oh,
you
I
know.
just picture him singing like Simba. Oh, I can't wait to be king. Oh, I can't, whatever king is.
I had to mute myself. I laughed so hard right there. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Oh, I can just picture him singing I can't wait to be king. He probably been singing it for about 3 or 4 years now.
Oh
So,
yes, without a doubt, without a doubt. And now he gets to welcome a new that it's a best. They're on fire over there. I don't know, but they need to leave Meghan alone. She's living her
mhm.
best of her best life, and I don't even care what a lot of these shows are covering archetypes, but are they really, or are they looking for the angle to kind of say something about Meghan? So
Well,
I'm gonna tear her
the
down.
Matilda says, Baron, they destroyed many documents of their involvement in slavery, but there are still many out there. And I think about that sometime is the idea that, okay, if if there is too much pushback, which is almost unavoidable, there is a lot of documents out there about the history of slavery in those country houses that was built with slave, blood and tears. And a lot of those families have meticulous records that describe their involvement with the slave trade. And no doubt, I'm sure those records would even indicate the involvement of the royal family and such. And so I think that the real backlash that comes from the reparations and such is that people would, or should I say, these families would be encouraged to either conceal those records forever or destroy them, and that would be too bad because I'm sure there's a lot to learn. But if I was from one of those families, and let's say I thought, my position would be challenged because of not my father, but my family's ownership or investment in the slave trade, then that would seem like you know, a way to to justify destroying these documents. So I hope that never happens. But yeah, just as Matilda says, the royal family has either buried or destroyed such documents, but they keep meticulous ledgers of every penny.
Yeah,
And so,
but she's
you
wearing diamonds that are taken out of Africa. Come on now. Okay,
uh-huh,
okay.
exactly.
I'm
And
just
there is an accounting for everything.
one of
They
the
have an accounting for everything.
was it Victoria that gave a young black girl as a gift to somebody?
Well, I know she had the goddaughter, but I've never heard of her giving someone as a gift because she loved, well, you know what? Victoria, say what you will about it, but she had a very curious, open mind for people. And so she even learned what did she learn? Farsi, or was it I know the one Muslim
I
servant
think
she had.
that was Victoria.
Yeah. And so I would imagine she would, you know, be more apt to keep someone than to give someone. But it's
Yeah.
hard to say what her sensibilities were because so much of her information was destroyed when she died. They burned her letters and such. So,
Well,
yeah.
you can't have the word get out that there might have been any expression of just humanizing someone else that didn't have the same pigment in a sense. So,
Oh, Rohini.
I
Matter of
mean,
fact,
yeah.
let me get Rohini in here. Rohini says, I think it was the Queen of Spain who gave the slave girl as a gift. Hello, Rohini. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Hi.
Rohini.
Hi. Yeah, I think it was the Queen of Spain. I remember reading something about that.
Okay.
I think it's the Queen of Spain. But I think the problem that they're having with Netflix right now is that this part of the story, there is too much information that is already known out there. And before they could say, it was speculative and it was creative license. But you have to remember that the divorce and her death and even the interview, everything was public and properly detailed in the media. So the same tabloids that they are in bed with right now is signing their death warrant, so to speak. They have put that information out there for everybody to see. So if I want to find out if something on the crown is true or not coming up, all I have to do is Google it. And there was a headline. And that's the problem he's having right now.
Oh, you know
Too
what? That
much
is
truth.
brilliant.
Too
Because you
much
know
truth.
what? I watch most of these documentaries or docudramas or dramatizations. I watch all of those things with the Google in hand because I want to expand on certain characters or names or places. Or if I think, oh, I know, that I might know more about a certain thing, then I will Google it real time as I'm watching it so that I can, I will pause. So, and yeah, you're right. That is probably,
What
no, not
everyone is
even
going to
probably,
do. Hmm.
surely a burden for them that there is this ability to pause and research. And then all of a sudden you're hearing that phone call between Charles and his emotional support, Camilla. And
Anyone over the age of 40, I'm just going to kind of throw out a number, is
uh
probably aware of that phone call, the phone,
uh-huh.
the
Oh,
transcript.
yes, we
So,
are.
yeah.
We
So, I
are.
mean,
Very much so.
hmm
Very much so. I'm not going to lie. I have always wondered, I mean, what does she do? Like, teach a class. I'm single.
I
How, I
can't be
mean,
bad. I'm on
what
balance. So I'm just going to behave myself and mute.
what does she do? Like, I mean, does she swallow? What? Like, I need to know. I need to know. Is it position wise? Because I would listen to that podcast. I would listen to Camilla After Dark explaining how to take and keep a prince. I would. I'm not gonna lie. She is right now queen of the side chicks. Every side chick is, looking at her with like, yes, you just hold on and eventually. But the truth is,
She waited a
Well,
long, long, long,
you
long, long,
understand me?
long, long
And
it's a
listen,
long
time.
game.
listen. I have always said that this situation is a cautionary tale for women. That a pretty face is not enough to keep a man. If a man don't want you, nothing you do will make him stay. And if a man really want you, nothing you do will keep him away.
Very true. I agree with you 100%.
Well, Mystic Toxin says, with my mom's love and admiration for Di, then the crown coming out, it's encouraged me to look into a lot of world history and good gods, the USA school system works hard to avoid topics if what is that note what is that not rewritten, is that not rewritten?
Yeah, if not rewritten by them, I guess that's what they're going to say. Not
Okay.
rewritten,
Oh, okay, got
not
it.
rewrite them. Oh, if topics to avoid topics, if not rewrite, like they've
Rewritten
rewritten
by
them.
them. Okay,
Which they
got
are
it.
trying to change history here, make it
Yeah,
slavery is like
thank you
some,
so much,
you
Mystic
know.
Toxin.
Yeah,
But
that is
yeah,
a good comment.
and what was the it was on one of the talk show. Oh, you guys, I'll be right back. Y'all go ahead and talk. I'll be right back.
We're taking over, y'all.
Baron has abandoned us. He
Welcome
has
to
abandoned
Royal
us.
Sussex 2.0.
Yes. With Miss VSN and Rahini. How are y'all doing?
Good, good. There you
Oh my goodness.
go.
This rounds they cannot hide behind. Oh, it's a story. There's too much information that verifies this storyline. Way
Right,
too much. They cannot
exactly.
hide behind it now. And that is their own fault, right?
Right. If they
Because
had not tried
you
to
threw
portray
her under the
themselves
bus.
as right, if they tried not to be so perfect
Well,
and
not
just
only that,
ignored the show, they would be okay. If you ignored the show, I mean, one year they're watching it and loving it, and now suddenly it's.
Because the
Or
last season, Charles was humanized. He looked, everybody was feeling sorry for him. Poor guy. People
I'm
were
sorry,
starting
and
to
the actor
believe.
that they have playing him, they gave him too much. Like Charles was never that good looking. Okay, I'm just gonna say.
He never was.
Okay, y'all, I am back.
He
Thank you
never
so much
was.
for covering for me. I wasn't expecting anyone to knock on the door, but thank you. Oh, I have a super sticker from Cheryl Bennett. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching. Can we all say it at the same time? One, two, three. Royal
Royal
Sussex.
Real
Sussex.
sus-
Barrett, we were doing good without you. Go back.
Okay,
We
you know
took
what?
over. We're joking. We're joking.
You know what? I got some of these. What is this?
Oh my god.
Ferrero Rocher, whatever it is. And
Ferrero
those
Rocher.
got the hazelnut. And when you eat those, it's just like you constantly looking in the corners of your mouth to get that hazelnut out of there. So you guys go ahead now, eat
You
this.
have a new member.
Oh, we do. Thank you so much, Quirky T. Let's see. Quirky T is a new member. Thank you so much, and thank you for being a member of Royal
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 Sussex.
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 I don't know where that comes from, but for whatever reason, it just happened one day. But yeah, I always get a kick out of saying that, just like I get a kick out of saying, "Thank you for clicking on my channel." That
Leave
is my other
Sharian
new
alone.
favorite thing. But so Judi Dench defends Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey's work. Are we just not going to see all those films? Well, she seems to have an issue with what she will and won't get behind. So she will defend that institution, especially seeing that it seems like, oh, this sounds so weird, but it seems like she shared a cone, but actually she didn't. They both had their own cones. Now I'm not going to make it sound weird, but she had ice cream with the emotional support Camilla, and so they're good girlfriends, and they probably call each other on the phone. Girl, did you see hear what he said? And so for that, she is so protective of them. But yet, what about the people who were not safe because of these two individuals?
Mhm.
I understand the idea that she wants to protect the art, but how about if she just not say anything and sit back and count all the money that she's made over the years from the work that she's done and let us decide what we will and will not watch, what we do accept as fiction and what we don't accept as fiction. Why not just let us figure that out? We don't need her input. That's why I say, is this actually
Control
anti
mind.
Netflix or anti American sentiment? And so they went and found a standard bearer so that she can come forth and to use all of her gravitas and authority as Dame Judi Dench to put
She'll
us in
get
our
dragged too.
places.
She can get
What's that?
dragged too.
Oh,
She can
yeah,
Wait,
get dragged too.
absolutely.
it's such a
Hmm.
And let me
stupid
just say
thing.
this real quick. Church Nelly, love you to pieces. I see that comment and I know he's never putting that up there. You're bad, bad. All right, back to the program.
Oh, I just saw. Okay, I told you Church Nelly can be quite a pistol when she wants to. So
Oh, I
I
know.
always have to be careful before I start reading it out loud and make sure I catch myself at some point because you
There you
never
go.
know. It'd be
What's
one
gonna
party
drop
over
in
here and
there?
another party over there. So sometimes I'm thinking, oh, I'm real funny today. They ain't paying attention to me. That's Church Nelly.
Oh my goodness.
Okay,
Well,
so Philip Murphy, let's see. I have a letter in the Times this morning about an old hobby horse of mine, by which I mean archives rather than the crown. And it says here, Sir Dame Judi Dench, uh, let me see, worries that viewers may take the crown's version of history as wholly true, and if they do, this will be partly the fault of the palace. It has made what is that, strenuous efforts
Strenuous
to
effort.
prevent historians from gaining access to records on the Queen's 70 years reign, in particular by obtaining an absolute exemption from the
Mm.
Freedom of Information Act for papers related to the sovereign and the second and third in line to the throne. If scholars were unable to write an accurate history of the monarchy, the field will be left to dramatists and to those with vested interests in leaking information. So if you won't let people have the accurate information, then doesn't that leave room for other people to interpret these events as they see fit? If you have nothing to hide, or if they, in most cases, have made you more human or actually helped your brand, why wouldn't you open up those pages of information to people who want to create a storyline? The information is known. They may not need all those little details to tell the story. It doesn't mean that it's inaccurate without access to this information. However, it would be more helpful and maybe things would go more in your favor if you opened up the books and allow them to have access. So this is kind of a problem of their own making if
Very
they would
much
have
so.
allowed access.
Well, the thing is, you never leave. Okay, when you handle documents, if there are blank spaces like within the paragraph,
Mm-hmm.
you usually don't sign or you put a line through it. But if you leave the space open and you don't fill it in with your own, someone else is going to come along and put their narrative in there. And
Oh,
that's
so
what has
true.
happened. But they all tout the arts when it is the pat on the back, that invisible contract,
Mm-hmm.
but which is very visible. But now suddenly this one show, before that contract of Harry and Meghan was announced, they were cool with Netflix, cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of, you're going to get actors that look a hell of a lot better than those folks over there. I'm just saying, better teeth and all that stuff. But still, they left blanks, and it's going to be filled in. Come on, come on, come on.
No,
Nobody
you're
really
so
believes
right
that the
about that.
Queen's, yeah, but nobody believes in the movie or the docu-series or whatever it was called, The Queen, that she really stood in Balmoral and cried when she saw that elk standing there. Come on now. We know drama when we see drama. Come on now. That's like the
But
line
wasn't
in
that a good
Africa when Harry. Come on now. Let's stop it.
wasn't that a good way that they managed to or should I say an effective way that they managed to remind us that she was a mechanic during the war with the broken axle and all that kind of stuff. It was like so much symbolism going on at that
It was
trip to
fluff.
Balmoral that it almost vomited on my shoes by it. But you know,
It was fluff. It was fluff. That was the one
thank
time
you.
that
That's the
woman
right word.
really lost it all because of trying to protect the institution, but ignoring the one person who truly was the face of the institution as much as they hated it, which they
Hmm.
then translate that 20, 30 years later. And here we are with Meghan, and they're doing the same thing. Okay.
But what
Yeah.
I've
Well, I have to just say one of the things that made me laugh about that movie was that big cartoon-sized phone that she was holding. This is not some sideshow. This is whatever that was. She said that phone was huge. It looked so comically large. I noticed some of the damnedest things, but that phone was just huge. This
But I
big,
can't say
gigantic.
what I want to say either. I wouldn't even have said it on my own just to understand. But the thought that went through my head, yeah. Hmm.
And wait, is it just me? And this may sound kind of cruel, but did it seem like she had to put rather a bit of a simple look on her face in order to create that character? Like she had to take all of the brightness out of her, personality. No offense to the monarch, of course, but it seemed like she had to have a bit of a naive look on her face in order to create the characterization of the queen. And then, I don't know. It was almost like a not a spaced out look, but just kind of a not altogether concerned,
Okay, so
aspect I saw. That
go look
was
at some pictures, Baron. Go look at no harm against the dead. You know what I mean? But go look at some pictures of the real one, and you're gonna see the same look, Baron. Okay.
yeah, just and she did play it a bit disconnected. And again, I'm not saying that that's how the
Right up
queen
to
was.
the end. Right up to
If Harry is listening, I'm not saying that's how she was, Prince Harry. I'm just saying that's how she portrayed her as the character. So, but yeah, I just thought I study a lot of everything that I see in a film, and I take notice of the
you are the
smallest
body
details
language
from
expert.
different areas. So, but yeah, and it did humanize her. But the queen watched all that stuff. The queen and the
Yeah.
queen mother, they watch everything or watched everything
It
because
was more entertaining than their jig, the Highland jig, or whatever that thing is called that they like to do with their
yeah. Well,
with the rest of the nines.
it was
Mhm.
once said that the queen loves to look at the regimental medals and look at the uniforms and make sure that everything is proper. In other words, it was like a bit of a puzzle for her to figure out what they're not doing right and what they're not wearing in the right place. Like this medal should be on this side. And so even like the gold braid, it was one of those docudramas where they had the braid the wrong way, and they say the queen picked up on it immediately. So yeah, she did watch all that stuff, and I guess she had a little scorecard she kept or something, which is fine.
That's
But
all she had to do. Come on now. That's all
oh,
she had to
Yeah,
do.
that's exactly what I'm saying. How
Red
boring
boxes and
and
look at medals.
disconnected.
well,
Right.
How
Harry, if
boring
you're
and
listening,
disconnected.
if
And
you're
that is your
listening,
job
Harry.
as the continuity specialist?
If you're listening, Harry,
Oh
that's
my
Rohini
goodness.
and Miss Speaks talking about your grandmama, not me.
You,
Asking
The
what else
views
did
and
you
Baron,
opinions,
you,
look, the views and opinions of VS Speak Royally and Rohini are not the same as Royal Sussex. Okay, there you go.
right.
I ain't
Oh,
scared. I'm gonna say it with my whole chest.
thank you for that disclaimer. I think Judi Dench would be
No
proud.
disclaimer. No disclaimer. I'm team Netflix. I'm
Okay.
team
I'm not gonna
Netflix.
say. I'm gonna have to drop
But
down
you
because
know
I
what
don't want to say
I
something bad about
I
these
really
women up
find
here.
funny is that they are trying to pick a fight with Americans by, basically telling them that you are too dumb to recognize that this is just a show. You don't want to do that. It doesn't make sense. People are going to want to watch it more. I don't even think Netflix has done any promotion for
Well,
this season. Like nothing. All they had to do is send out a poster.
I
They're
think the
saving their
whole
money. It doesn't make sense because Americans, you're telling them that they can't have freedom of speech. Are you serious? That doesn't make sense. Who's advising these people? They
I
don't.
think the whole point of it, though, excuse me, but I do think the whole point of it is just to make sure that they get it out there that there is inaccuracies and that none of this is true. It's not going to work because most of us over 40 know the history. But I think the whole
Exactly.
point is just to put it out there to chip away at their credibility to make it seem like this is all, and this may be a smaller part of a much bigger campaign
Oh, without a
against.
doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I am
But see,
sorry. At
my
this point, I cannot wait for the TikTokers to make a TikToks of the famous tampon gate.
oh geez.
I cannot wait for TikTok to start to remix that and stuff. Like I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm gonna get a TikTok account just to see that.
Oh, that's gonna be
Seriously. Because
priceless.
they
But
deserve
see,
it. I'm very sorry. They
if you
deserve
want
it.
to claim there's inaccuracies, then tell us what's the truth.
Exactly. What's
Right.
the
Otherwise,
truth?
please be quiet. Otherwise, because that doesn't make sense. Don't say, oh, there. Don't imply there's inaccuracies. We know that drama is drama. So,
Exactly.
uh, you know. But we've seen enough of their life on other true documentaries if they really want to get specific. And are you saying those were inaccurate too? Okay.
Well, Joy Behar said that anybody with a brain knows that this is, a fictionalized account and not actual, an actual, what do you call it, a documentary. So I'm going to go with Joy on this one. And I'm glad she said that because I feel like she's just as credible as the next person. But she says anybody with a brain knows better. So the
Right.
idea that we dumb Americans don't know the difference and we think all of this is real. I never, and you guys have heard me say it many times. We weren't there. We don't know
Right.
if that was the actual conversation. And I've said that for the people that I am dragging here, there, and everywhere because I still want to be fair. We honestly don't know. But in my opinion, I feel as though there may be certain airs of truth. And I state it seems credible, but it's not necessarily so. And that's all to it. I never take any of this stuff as the gospel. And I don't think most people do. But as you pointed out, Rohini, people will Google and
Right.
find out for themselves.
I mean, I think that was why they fought so hard to have the Di interview
Mm-hmm.
um, basically locked away in a vault so that you don't see it, because that probably would have been part of the Crown season that would have factored in. I know they've showed scenes,
Ooh, boy, you
I
all
think
are
they are. I
good.
think they're gonna recreate the interview.
but they're going to recreate it. But they could have shown the whole thing.
So
Di's
you're
word,
saying they could have spliced it in there.
yes.
Oh
But
wow, you're
because of it
good.
being locked away now and not, it's you can't air that.
And that would give them an opportunity to try to, I guess, enforce a copyright on it, perhaps,
Right,
where
right.
that we
So
couldn't share it on
right,
social media. So yeah, that's a possibility that maybe they
yeah,
would try to enforce some type of copyright on it because I don't know that we can or cannot share it. I mean, I haven't tried it, but yeah, maybe that's the other part of it is just to make sure that they can cry foul and have it removed from
right.
social media wherever it pops up. So yeah, that's a possibility. That makes a lot of sense.
I
So,
mean, they can live with it as far as, oh, there's inaccuracies up until that telephone call, because
mhm.
we know the transcripts out there, and the actual audio is probably floating still out on the internet, because once it's out there, it's out there. But
I'm gonna put it as a ringtone.
Well, your ringtone.
Yeah, I need them to make it as a TikTok. You know, I need it like that part there, like reenacted. Oh my god, like I'm not lying. I if I'm honest with you, I can as a semi royalist, I kind of forgave Charles for it. I kind of did after that
Okay.
because it felt like true love.
Well, okay. I could understand the idea that they love each other and all that kind of stuff, but you can just never look past the treachery that put the two of them together and the fact that it seems as though not official, we don't know for sure, but now it's being said that it was, of course, Diana's grandmother and, of course, the royal family that the queen mother, the queen. Well, I think it was the queen mother and Diana's grandmother who wanted to put this alliance together with the families. Well, now they're saying that Camilla allegedly had input with pushing them together because Diana was supposedly so gullible and naive that she would accept Charles's, extra affairs and such, and that she would be okay with it because um, she would be this rather jointed doll, as they referred to Kate, who would just go along with anything like a good Stepford wife. So apparently that is the new thing that is supposed to come out in the Crown is that they're going to show how Camilla not only was conspiring to have access to Charles, but and it makes sense that she would have been one of the people to hand select her out of the pool of women that they had probably been
That is
looking at since they were in grade school.
that is just so
How grimy. How
it's
grimy.
disgusting. That's disgusting.
Well, what about that scene in that whichever
But she
documentary it
is an
was?
older lady now. I'll say it like that. She's an older lady now, and she had to wait a long time to get to the love of her life. How about that?
Yeah, yeah,
You
it's
know
kind of
what?
like.
Listen,
Hmm.
listen, listen. If Camilla's parents had done to Charles what they did to her first husband, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here because you know his her father put out bans that they were engaged
Hmm.
to Parker Bowles. He was
Hmm.
just there enjoying himself because she's older than them. She's like about 2 years older than Charles and about 4 years older than her husband. But she was, what we used to call back in the day a jump off, right?
Hmm.
She's a fling fling. She said, I mean, it's not my poon poon. You could do what you want with it, but back then, and then they would say, listen, you're here with this man for long. He didn't want to marry you. They put up bans. And of course, back then, character and so forth, you had no choice. But if the father said you're engaged, man, why he didn't put up bans for Prince Charles? Put it up. Force them then,
Hmm.
and leave this young girl out of your craziness. And what really upsets me is that he made Diana fall in love with him. He made that
Hmm.
happen. If you had probably just told her, listen, this is the arrangement, you know, this is what's gonna happen, this is your purpose, that would have been something else. But you made her fall in love with you. You made her believe that, you made her love you, right? And
Hmm.
after that, one of the saddest things is that you saw Diana trying to find love. You know what I mean? And I'm
Hmm.
not lying, it does upset me that Charles has had so many years of being with who he wants to be with. And Diana never really had that. When she finally found her true love, this happened to
Yep.
her. She died. And
Yep.
it's really a sad situation. So I think the least he could do is manage the ponging. Take the insults, take it, because this is what you deserve. You've gotten enough. You've gotten over 25 years with the love of your life, and you did it by destroying somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Take the licks now. Take it now. You understand what I'm saying? Take it now. But they spend so much money and so long trying to get people to somewhat of um a comfortable acceptance of Camilla, because right now most British people, it's kind of like, well, she's there. That's his wife. Even Prince Harry has spoke when he asked about. He said, well, she makes him happy. What else do you want me to say? There's nothing else he could say about that. And they spent a lot of time. And to think that that would be overturned by the crown, mm, I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I think for a time he'll get a lot of dragging on social media, but eventually people will move on. But if you continue to fight it, eventually, people are going to start to think, maybe what the crown is saying is right. Maybe
Hmm.
there really is truth to it. Because sometimes the best thing is silence. Silence.
Never complain, never explain, but
Ex- th-
somehow they're doing just the opposite.
exactly. That would be their best weapon at this point in time. To just keep quiet, let it play out for a little while. People would be, he'll be a Twitter meme for a while, and eventually it will end. But
Now,
there's
do you
nobody
think
there advising them.
do you think there would have been as much uproar if Tyler Perry would have taken this production on?
Ah,
do you do you
ooh,
think they
Well,
would have
I
as
would
much an issue?
I would have loved to hear Tyler Perry be
Medea.
Charles and make that. I would love to hear
Right.
Medea hearing this man telling him that, I want to be your tampon. She'd be like, what the hell? What?
We have
I'm,
seen
what
Diary
you talking about?
of an Angry Black Woman. Have we not seen Diary of an Angry Black Woman? Have we not seen some of his
It would have
movies? Medea, the one with the
it would
chainsaw.
have been a
I'm
whole
just saying,
different energy to it, that's for sure. Well, it
I want
reminded
half
me
of everything.
of Harry and Meghan. Of course, the meme on the left side is the one that I made. Harry, Meghan, grab your baby and come on. And the other one, of course, Medea's safe house. Someone else made that on the Twitter, I think is where I had got it from. But I love that. I love the other one more than I love the one I made. But both of them are pretty hilarious.
Are
But
pretty funny, yeah. That's hilarious. All
yeah,
right, I see someone wants to join. Is Karen still there, Karen? Because I can drop down.
Oh, wait a minute.
saw
Oh,
in
you
the
know what? I
private
forgot I
chat
got
that
other
you had a
people down
message.
there. I'm just talking away. Yeah, I'll bring Karen in. Thank you so much. And Lottie G, thank you for the super sticker. And thank you as always for watching Royal Sussex.
Sussex.
Okay, so all right,
All right.
Karen, let me see if I can find
Is
you.
she still there? Because if not,
Yes.
I'll drop down. There she is. I'm going to
There we
say
are.
hi, Karen, and bye, Karen. I need to.
Hi, VS. Hi, VS. You don't have to go. I just enjoy your conversation. Hi.
Yeah, I
How
was
are you
like
guys?
so involved with the conversation. I
I
literally forgot.
know. I'm saying to myself, is he forgetting me here? And I'm just cracking up with laughter here. It's like, oh my
Well,
God.
you know I'm not used to having company.
I know. But you have the
I don't know
best.
how to act when I have company.
Oh my gosh. But I mean to say, listen, I don't care what they say about this crown. Okay? From what I'm seeing playing out, all this is all true. Okay? I've lived through the Dianas and everything. This is all true because it happened. Okay? It happened. So they can, they can complain about it. They can try to get rid of it or whatever. And, trying to prepare it for, the upcoming newborns and young people so that they don't see this. Okay? But it's true and it happened. And they need to stop lying. Okay? They need to stop lying. Charles is still trying to cover his tail right now, and Camilla is trying to make a name for herself. But this happened. It was adultery, and now they're at the top there, and people have to be bowing to them. And this nonsense needs to stop. Okay? There's no way that they should be, telling people who are creating, their content or their, shows and movies, what to do. This is not colonialism anymore. This is freedom. Okay? And something is out there and people want to write a story about it. Okay? And have a story and have the truth out there. Let it be. Okay? You're trying to preserve the monarchy, you're trying to preserve yourself. Okay? When you just crucify an innocent woman, a second innocent woman, a second one. Nobody talk about preserving Meghan. Nobody talk about preserving her. Nobody talk about preserving Diana. Okay? She was a teenager. Okay? And these two adults, these two big old people, okay, took advantage of her. That could have been my sister. It could have been my child. Okay? It could have been, if I was that age at the time, but, it could have been, my niece or whoever. I don't want this on anyone, not even a friend, not even one of my enemies. I don't want this on. Okay? It's wrong what they did. It's wrong. And Charles know what he was doing. He called her stupid. He called her a child. He called her, he laughed at her. Okay? Him and Camilla. So they know what they were doing. Okay?
And
it wasn't
even
right
worse,
what
they encourage other people.
Pardon me?
Even worse, they encourage other people to laugh at her.
That's exactly it. And that's what I was saying, because Charles did that. So it gave other people the okay to go ahead and do it to her. Okay, the tabloids, the reporters, he even gave them information so that they can call, he called her crazy and give them information to go ahead and call her crazy. Okay, because she was suffering because of what he was doing to her. Okay, she was going through the mental illness with her her eating disorder and stuff like that. That brought it on. That brought it on. Okay, it's what he was doing to her. And she was in there. She didn't have us like Meghan has the squad, like Meghan has, you know, like there's the internet for us to speak out. She didn't have it. She suffered that alone. Okay, and because of his status, he knew that he can do that to her. Okay, and the thing is that when he got together with Diana, he knew she was young. You know, you were older than her. You know, you like the big women. Okay. So why do that to her? You know what you were doing to her. Okay, all you needed was the ear. And Camilla was in cahoots with him. Okay, because the two of them sat down and talked about it, and she gave him the go ahead to go ahead and marry him, because she couldn't do it because she already had the two kids, and he had to get his ears. Okay, so she gave him the go ahead to go ahead and do it, and she would still continue to have a relationship with him. Like, what is so what is so, you know, friction or whatever about that? It's the truth. Okay, we're seeing it now. Like, why is she there and Diana is dead? Why was he with her and he divorced Diana? Come on, you know, enough is enough. And this monarchy, it needs to go, because the lies need to stop. They need to stop lying to people. Okay, they need to stop doing that, because it's the same colonialism nonsense that's going on, of control, of brainwashing. Okay, now they're coming to Netflix, to the States, to go after Netflix. Why? Huh? Are you trying to get money out of Netflix? Is that the next step? Are you trying to show how far your powers can go? Okay, to deny people of their rights and freedom to express themselves. Okay, and look at what's happening with Meghan. Look at all the derangers. Look at all these people that's going after Meghan, and none of them came out and say anything about it, knowing that it's not what they're saying is not true, knowing what they have done to her. Okay, but they left her there to be crucified. Okay, and then, you know, people are coming out and saying that, you know, about the queen and how is it, the queen dead and gone. She's gone. She did her wrong. She did all this stuff to people. She stayed there and saw Diana, okay, saw what her son was doing to Diana, and saw her being crucified, a child. Okay, and she let it happen. Okay, and we're supposed to care that, you know, about preserving her, you know, her name for what? There's people suffering in Africa still. There's people suffering in West Indies that she's the head of state for. Okay, so why am I feeling sorry? Why am I feeling sorry for that? Okay, they're living in palaces. They're still taking money from taxpayers' money, plus they're building house, letting people live inside of it, because that's an income for them. Okay, they're not building the house so that people can buy the house and go on with their life. They're building it so that people can rent it from them, and they're getting the rent for it. Okay, so they're taking the money from the people in several different ways, by taxes, plus taking it back from them when they're paying a rent. Okay, to live. Okay, so people cannot breathe. They cannot get out from under these people, because this is holding the control of them. Now he become king or whatever it is, because as far as I'm concerned, he's still Charles. Okay, and then people supposed to bow to him, bow to her. Okay, and they're the head of the church. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Is this what you're teaching? You want to teach young people? Is this what you want to teach kids? Like, one time you're telling me to believe this, and now and don't believe that, and here is two people in front of me, okay, playing out this nonsense, playing it out. Okay, And I'm supposed to respect them. Now, what am I supposed to teach my little ones? That it's okay for you to go after people. Okay, for you to treat people like that. Okay, for you to, bully people and disrespect them, to climb to the top, and it's okay. How is that okay? It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Did Baron leave us?
You know what? I got bounced out of the studio just now. I don't know what happened. I got bounced, and I thought I was going to have to start everything over again. But no, I got bounced somehow.
I was like, what happened? I'm like, we're down to 3. What happened? I'm like,
Yeah,
we'll take over
I
again.
literally got bounced out of here.
I was getting ready to have a good time. Oh,
Well, you know how StreamYard is. StreamYard is a trip. And y'all think that it's just me, but StreamYard does what StreamYard wants to do. And
I was getting ready to say, everybody, just come on over, subscribe to my channel, and I'll start a live.
Yeah, sorry about that, but yeah, all of a sudden it just went bloop.
Because it just
my screen was completely. It was like the screen that you have before you log on. That's where I was at. I had to literally put myself back in and put my microphone back on.
Oh, okay. But at least that's one good thing about StreamYard, that it is nice in that regard. Like, you didn't have to restart everything. It kind of holds your place. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, it's like an old car where, you know how when you have an old car and you know how to work around what's not right about it. That is what I've done with StreamYard. Like, sometimes when I want to bring up another set of slides, I have to open up another window, and that's how I do that echo thing, is because I got 2 windows open, but otherwise it won't let me do it while I'm on. So if I don't do it like within minutes when I log in, then I have to open another screen and do it like that. So yeah, it's interesting that I guess it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you sharp, but I've had to learn some go-arounds just to deal with it. But
and those of you who are not yet content creators, it's one of those where your stomach literally jumps into your throat when you're like, what happened? Why am I not in the stream? And you just have to go with the flow.
Yeah. I've learned to not panic, and I can reason my way through it now. But the first time,
I can't even get my screen share to work. What are you kidding? You're doing great.
Really?
Oh, but I work around it.
Okay, now you know what? Let me tell you about that really fast. The screen share. Are you using the Chrome?
Yes.
Because I can do it on Chrome, but I can't do it on whatever the other one is I got.
Explorer. Yeah. I was on Chrome. That's how I realized my cam, the time that I was cammed on cam, and it was when I went into Chrome and used StreamYard, it worked. But before it wouldn't do anything on Internet Explorer. So,
well, there is someone. Ronnie was on here, but Ronnie V, she's gone, I think. Official Lauren is here. Hey, Official Lauren.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Hold on, I just want to make sure I'm not opening too many windows so I don't get that feedback.
You know what? Maybe that's what I should do, is close a couple of windows, and then maybe.
Oh no, Baron, this is all me. It's all me.
No, I got a bunch of stuff open right now, so I'm going to close a couple things and give my PC less to do. And oh gosh, this thing is on fire right now. I mean, the screen is so hot you can burn your hand. So that's another thing, is when your PC is hot, things start getting weird. So that's if you have to put a little fan on it, that would help. But yeah.
Where do you work at a desk? Sometimes they have those like cooling pads that actually are, I don't know if you're on a desktop or if you're on a laptop, but they have.
I'm using a 27-inch Mac from late 2015.
Okay, so you should this is not a should. You can get, if you're looking for it, cooling pads where they actually have like a little fan that you can set your computer on, and they range in
one
price,
of those in my chair.
Yeah. Listen, sometimes it gets hot. Yeah, you sit for a while. Of course.
I need that in my chair. Never mind the computer. What about my behind?
Oh my gosh.
Love it.
I've been tempted to go and see if I can get an egg and put it in the chair and see what happens. Just
Never
to see.
mind.
Hatching, a little
Right?
hatching.
If you hear something tweeting during the live stream, then you know my experiment was successful.
Yes. We'll be like typing fiercely, get off the chicks, get off the chicks.
Well, Lauren, what say you about all of this anti-American, anti-Netflix stuff? Actually, anti-Netflix is anti-Americanism as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I think, isn't that the question of the day?
Yes.
It's, I think, and I say this humbly because, you know, everybody, you always think your own country is doing it right when in fact, you know, we're all imperfect as nations. But the way that they're carrying on, I don't know if they realize that all they're doing is fanning the financial flames in the best way for Netflix. And it's absolutely, it screams of ego and ignorance of the way the world works and the way that media works, that anything you give attention to, good or bad, expands and grows and becomes more of a thing the more you talk about it. And specifically to the anti-Americanism, I think, gosh, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how I say it without sounding straight up rude. When we said goodbye to King George at the end of that revolution, and I include the Black soldiers who fought in that, I think a lot of people didn't expect, and I'm speaking like historically, for America to become what it has become. And for England to see, unfortunately, the UK to see so much shrinking of its economy at the moment, I think you're going to get a stronger rage and kind of an ego jealousy, because it's like, hey, we were the big dogs. And no, what we know about any, you know, a dying lion, or I'm not saying that England is dying, but anybody backed into a corner, or anybody that is going through where they feel like it's a life or death situation, is going to lash out at everybody, everything, whether or not it really is that big of a deal. And the one thing we know about a television show is that there's always a next one coming. And it's very weird that the men in gray suits don't seem to recognize that there is another one coming. There are always going to be things written about them. But I do think this speaks to C3's approach to life. It's always been very much, if it's not glowing and about me, I'm not comfortable with it. Beyond that, I want to squash it. But I mean, when he looks at the way that they treated his daughter-in-law, I don't understand how there can be any ignorance as to the fact that, yeah, this is part of the process. You are now, you have the spotlight you wanted. This is what it looks like.
Exactly.
So that's my theory or thinking on that.
Charles spent millions, I think, did they say $2 million more or less, that he spent to reform Camilla's image. And he hired some image consultant, not just for himself, but also to help Camilla. And so that, what was it, last season of The Crown, actually undid a lot of that. Or was it when the documentary of Diana came out? I would say probably both, although it helped to humanize Charles, but it was a stark reminder to people about the relationship of Charles and Camilla, the origin thereof. And so now, this season, they are going to go much deeper into it. They just kind of picked at it a little bit last time, but now it's going to be front and center of this season's Crown. And so, again, as Rohini very wisely said, people are going to sit there with their Google and they are going to real time look up this stuff and find out so much of it is not just fictionalized or dramatized, but that it is true, and that Diana did go through these things. And this is going to undo all of the goodwill that was created during the mourn hub, when we were forced to mourn for however many days.
Way too long.
yeah, this is going to just pull all that back down. So Charles is going to lose a lot of those polling points that, he gained by looking like this dutiful, heartbroken son with all of that chalky makeup on. And now he's going to, really become humanized. And people are really going to see that the head of the Church of England and his cohort,
Adulteress.
yeah, his cohort is Sunny Host and Viz. The two of them are now front and center at the very top of the pyramid in the social order. And what are they but two people who have engaged in adultery? And calling Diana crazy is not going to make that not be exactly what it is, because that's exactly what it is. They have risen to the top in spite of the inadequacies of their relationship, the improbability of their relationship. They have managed to circumvent all of what was working against them, and even got his poor lamented mother to insist that we all refer to her as the queen consort, only for them to finally get the job. And now suddenly, oh, didn't we tell you? Don't use the consort. It's just queen. I mean, they keep moving the goalposts for their own benefit.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be the princess consort, not queen consort, but princess consort. That changed. And so she did her duty as the Duchess of Cornwall when she was actually the Princess of Wales.
Mhm.
And then, of course, within days of the Queen dying, then suddenly they want you to not say consort, but just call her queen. That's what we're hoping for. And of course, the tabloids are going to feed right into it, which is fine. I don't really care. But as far as I'm concerned, she shouldn't be there. Now, him,
No, she
he's in there
shouldn't.
by blood. He's in there by blood. He
Yeah.
should be there by himself, unmarried, and you know what? Have your affair with her. But it's spitting in people's face to try to make people accept
Yes.
this relationship. It's a spit in the face.
Yes.
What's wrong with the word consort, though? I mean, that's everything they've told us, or us dumb Americans, is that you cannot have two monarchs at the same time. Basically, there's a king and there's a queen, and
Correct.
you have two at the same time. So suddenly we can. She's got power like him.
No, this was all premeditated.
Yes.
This was all premeditated, and
Agreed.
he made sure that it came from the queen's voice before she died. Okay.
Well, they
He made
slipped
sure.
that document in her red box. First, they slipped her a little something to make her comfortable and
I
malleable.
can make you
And
laugh,
then
Baron.
they slipped that document in there, and she started thinking Philip, is that
That's why
Philip?
her hands were. He probably was squeezing her hand. You will sign this.
Holding his hand
He
over
didn't
hers
even
as she
have
held
to
the
do
pen.
that.
He gave
He
her an
just
ultimatum.
slipped that document in the box, and the queen just, read it, and it is what it is. And so, the queen knew that she was getting close to the end, and he probably convinced her that for the sake of the,
Sanity.
institution, you have to say this. And she went along with it, because she went years without even meeting Camilla. But then again, she went a lot of years without meeting this dimwit too. But it didn't take her but maybe less than 12 months to meet Meghan. I'm just saying. But she didn't think much of this one, and she certainly didn't think much of this one for obvious reasons. But toward the end, she was stuck, and being pragmatic, she just had to go along with it. I don't think it took much coercion other than I'm going to survive and you're not, so just do what we ask you to do, and you can have your jello mold at dinner.
Like, don't you
Not Jello mold.
don't you notice? Don't you notice that? And this is even from the funeral celebration and everything that I've noticed, that you know, Camilla is behaving like she's the one who's the monarch. She's not taking a back seat to nothing. Okay? She's behaving like she's the one who's the monarch and not him. Okay? Like she's calling all the shots. She is not she don't want to be a consort. She wants to be the monarch. And this is why every single thing that happened along the way with him and Diana's relationship, Diana, you know, getting brought into this family and everything, you know, it was all true, and it was all a plot, okay, for him to get his heirs and then move on from there and go back to her. And Camilla was the, you know, she was front and center with all of that decision. She was actually giving him the ideas of how to do everything. Okay,
this is what I was looking for right here. This is what I was looking for. This is what Camilla is not trying to seize power. Camilla is putting this child in her place. Camilla is putting this child in her place. Look at how many times they kept saying they were ready to lead. They were ready to lead. And Queen Kate this and Queen Kate that. Camilla is probably the one who told Charles, look, you buffoon, before they meet and talked you out of your job, you best follow my lead and we'll get through this. So I think more than anything else, she had to put that one in her place because they were using pure coercion and using their connections with the tabloids to try to muscle Charles off that throne. And they still may continue to do that. They're not necessarily giving up on the idea of it as far as I'm concerned, because Charles has so many skeletons in his closet. You can pick and choose. Right. And that's exactly. Probably
so when the son's son, the second in line, comes to get to that age, I hope he gives his father 100 times more than what he's doing right now.
Here's one of the skeletons right here.
Will is no different.
Here's one of the skeletons right here. That's a skeleton right there on the screen.
Do you think that Will have the opportunity to create as many skeletons, given how much more public like life is?
Because
Charles was still kind of pre-constant 24/7 media.
William
he's still doing stuff behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, he's arrogant.
William does not think, he acts, and
everything that William is doing is Charles who have him doing that. Him want to cancel his mother and all that stuff. And that speech that he came out and gave, that was not Will. I was so shocked when he came out and calling his mom a liar. Okay, when I said paranoid, I said paranoid. I said, did everyone hear what he just called his mom? You know, that is you calling your mom mad, exactly what your father was calling her. Okay, and you coming out. That speech was not Will's speech. That speech was Charles giving Will to read that speech, and him.
That was the tabloids. That was the tabloids that gave him that.
Yeah,
the tabloids.
Him talking about he don't want to see this this documentary anymore, and they shouldn't show it anymore and all that stuff. Who the hell is Will? Who are you?
I don't think it was Charles. I think it was the tabloids. The tabloids want us to forget what they've done.
This is what Charles doing to Netflix. He started working on William from back then because he know that he wanted to get rid of anything about Diana. Okay, because he know him and Camilla was coming up. Okay, so he used Will, to put that up because Charles couldn't do it back then himself.
But he was always using them.
Will to do it, and they couldn't go to Harry with that crap.
Yeah.
So he's the only person that he could use that Will is going to go along with him is Will.
Unfortunately,
we got Flame. We got Flame in a holding pattern here, and I don't want to ignore her. So, Flame, you say, oh, by the way, welcome to Royal Sussex. You say.
I say hello. It's nice to be
Flame.
Wow. I need to gather my thoughts on that group of people. They're all like, I mean, if ever there was a dysfunctional family, for the love of God, they don't seem to learn anything from the past. They say that Diana's end was a tragic end to a problem that they had, but at the same time, they tried to bring that same end to Meghan and I guess Harry, because I don't know where they thought he would be, if not with her. So it's hard to. I mean, I watched that thing with Charles and now I don't want to call her late prime minister, but the one that's
I have to
gone.
say that this is all alleged, of course, but go on.
Oh yes, of course it's alleged, even though we see it play out every day.
Well, I'm not
But it is
saying that.
alleged. Yes, it is. You're right. You're right. It's alleged. But watching him talk to the prime minister that last time he met her before she resigned, it just play that clip, because you're good at that, Baron. He had such a look of disgust on his face, like, oh my God, it's her. Or just come on in.
Right.
And he didn't
Didn't he
even
say,
try.
oh gosh, it's you again, or you're
He
here
want
or
her
something?
out. He
Did he
wanted
say,
her
well,
out.
he got his wish because she's
Yes.
gone.
From the time she
Yeah,
told him
after
not to
she
go
told
not
him
to-
that he couldn't go on that
to
trip, she
COP27.
put him in his place.
Well, I have no
Yes.
sympathy for her because she fired that black man thinking that she could save herself when it was all her own policies. She fired him thinking that she would save herself, and now it didn't work. She's gone. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for her.
Well, now see, I still watch Hugo. Hugo talks, and Hugo was of the opinion that that entire thing was contrived, that she was just there temporarily. And of course, a lot of people were enriched by that. Now, he may have been used as a scapegoat, or he may have not, but the two of them seem to have ducked into a corner together and come up with this budget without properly vetting it with other people, and it may possibly, allegedly, and considerably have enriched a lot of people, kind of like with here in the United States, where they give those huge tax breaks and they throw the economy into chaos, and by the time they straighten things out, the working class people have become poor, and the upper class 1% people have become richer. And then, of course, they say, well, that wasn't the right thing, or they might not say it, but she may have just been there to do exactly what she did. And then, of course, this theory that Hugo has is that this is all a way of playing things up to get Boris right back in there, kind of like when Putin stepped down, so that there wouldn't be social unrest. And then they bring him back after Medvedev, whatever his name is, was gone. So this may be the Winston Churchill playbook, where you give people a little break and then bring them back. It's not unheard of to bring the same person back again. Now, I'm not saying for sure that that's what's happening, but she doesn't seem to be that bothered by it. It seems like she was the one being used, and she, of course, along with whatever his name is, the black guy, they both have served whoever threw them into that situation unprepared, enriched a lot of people, and then almost as soon as they completed the task, allegedly, then they were removed. I think it was all a big setup for them. I don't think that was actually anything other than theater and bad performers at that. That's what makes sense to me. And it's just like I always say with The View. The View is just theater. You don't watch The View and really learn anything new. They are given talking points. They listen to those producers in their ears, and you never really get anywhere. It's the viewpoint, counterpoint, viewpoint, counterpoint. Every so often, you'll get someone who's not playing along with the script as it's written, but you got to wait about 3 or 4 episodes to get that. But otherwise, it's just business as usual. So that's why I don't watch, because I know that they got that iPad in front of them or their laptop. They have a producer in their ear. There's certain things that they can't touch or not. And like when Whoopi was not, when she was just a panelist, she actually said things. But now that she's the moderator, she has been somehow put under a very heavy hand of control. And
She's
it's
been
not
neutered.
often.
She's been neutered.
Yeah, she's been neutered. It's not often that she actually says anything that has any bite. She has been somehow pushed back into a corner and told to behave, and that's exactly what she's doing for whatever they're paying her.
But you notice that.
Oh, I'm sorry. She got herself in trouble in a sense when she was taken off for a little bit. So that's probably why she's more reserved.
Yeah, but she was like that
not
before
with that comment
that
that she,
happened.
not with that comment that she made about that she came out about Meghan. I mean to say, you know, Meghan talked about being on Deal or No Deal, and she talked about how it made her feel, you know, with what they expected from them. You know, anytime you get, you know, picked to go on a show, whatever it is, you apply for it, you get called for it and stuff like that. Yes, they're not looking for any fat person or, you know, ugly person or whatever it is.
Hey,
right?
You get off the fat people.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, like
Sizeism, though. You're talking about sizeism, yeah.
I'm just
oh, okay.
talking
You're talking about the show, okay.
No, I'm just being straight up as to what they were looking for at that time. Because if you look at all the girls, them, okay, you don't see no fat person, you don't see no, you know, body conscious person or whatever they're trying to promote now, okay. If that's what they were looking for, they wouldn't be telling them about, you know, padding up their breasts or sucking in and all these different stuff, okay. So they know exactly what they were looking for. They were looking for the Coca-Cola bottle, whatever, you know, and you know, you have to have a certain look. You have to, your hair has to be a certain, you know, way and stuff like that.
But you know
then
what?
as they go in there, they even wanted more from them because, you know.
Karen, that's it. I think the thing too with the Whoopi perspective is like, so often, I think what happens, and it's the difference between the people not in media and then the people who are inside of media. I think a strong desensitization starts happening where, you know, you look at casting call after casting call after casting call, and it's like, you know, blonde, tall, skinny, must not be, you know, XYZ pounds, or, you know, must have lighter skin, or must have X hair, or must be only dark, or must be, you know, must sound like, you know, something Asian, right? And so I think to an extent as well, what we're seeing is two things with Whoopi. She's one, desensitized to years of being in an industry where people are so deeply categorized that it's like, yeah, of course, that's a Tuesday. Why is she upset about that? But I think also there's that other question, and I think it's the same thing that happened to Truss, where you know, she was much more Republican prior to, and speaking in the English sense, not in the American sense, prior to gaining the positions of power. But if you notice, as people get higher up in the hierarchy anywhere, but in this case, we're speaking about media and the UK, there is a strong moderating force so as not to alienate the powers that be. And so I think, as someone said before, it might have even been you, Baron, now that she's in that moderator seat, there is such a like kind of like a silence that's placed on her.
She had not. She shouldn't have commented.
She shouldn't have commented. What was her comment? I missed it because somebody.
She shouldn't have commented. She shouldn't have commented on it. And the thing is that she kind of contradicted herself because, you know, Meghan speak about how she felt. Okay, that was her experience and how she felt. And then Whoopi came out and said, well, you know, she knew what she was getting into and stuff like that. But maybe that's how, maybe, you know, it's not, the people don't see you like that, but that's how you're seeing yourself, but the people don't. But that's what Meghan said. She talked about how she felt.
Yeah.
Okay?
Every time Meghan
what about what the people are saying? So I don't know why she had to comment on it.
About how she feels, she gets criticized. I'm surprised at Whoopi and her little comment, because what Meghan was saying was that's the nature of the game. They objectify the women. They're not that woman that came. There was another woman that was on there that came out and said, "Oh well, she doesn't understand. You just go in and you do the best you can and you present yourself and you could get opportunities for that." And I was like, "What? Who is she talking
But
about?"
that is
Because
her
in Hollywood, it
experience.
does not work like that. You have
And
to
that
know
is her
people who you know.
experience.
Flame, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think that that's due to, as far as, because you bring up a point that makes total sense, people attack Meghan left and right. Is it partially due to the dehumanizing that has been happening to her from the British media? Because I know we talk a lot about how different the US sees her to how the UK sees her. And of course, this is more tabloid speaking. We know that the populace is different. But it can have an effect where people stop seeing somebody as human. And I think that crosses, national borders and oceans. But what do you think?
Definitely. Definitely. Especially since it's a coordinated effort from them. They've coordinated themselves, not just in England. They're trying to invade over here and destroy their reputations. It's just not just in England. They keep trying to send Will over here and the other ones, but nobody pays any attention to them. They're trying to destroy them literally with all this negativity. And yes, the more you keep attacking someone, the less human they feel. That is their goal. They're still trying to destroy her. Every award she wins, they criticize the people that gave her the. What happened to them? Why is she getting an award? But and they'll even say sometimes when they're giving their little reports, the royal reporters, they'll say they're not paying attention to the important one. They're ignoring the important one, which means William, and Harry's supposed to still be the spare. So I think that they're denigrating them on purpose.
She's on the attack. She's on the attack by everyone. Because
she's attacked,
but they're
coordinated is what I'm saying. They're trying to coordinate over here. They paid people to lie on her. And one man came out and said they offered me $60,000 and I was broke, but I didn't do it because she was such a good person. It's an attack. It's orchestrated. Allegedly.
Let me remind you that they also have infiltrated, not just for the sake of Meghan. I'm not going to say that. But they have infiltrated the newsrooms of the United States.
Yes.
They work as freelance writers all over the United States.
Yes.
And we found out that when that reporter reported on Harry at the Polo Club for the first time, that was someone who had kind of dragged either Harry or Meghan or both in the past. Or how about that poor lady that I showed you guys some time ago that was in her hospital bed,
Lord God,
who had said all those nasty things about Meghan. Obviously, that person was a royalist, and that person suddenly found herself in a very, terrible situation that I'm not making light of, but I'm just saying that
she
is
got
yet another person
paid, probably.
whose roots are over there, who's writing stories for NBC over here. And so it's not just the people, the royal experts that you see on camera. There are writers who want to live the American dream, but their heart is still in Narnia, that are writing on behalf of that family and not in the interest of people of the United States that may support Harry and Meghan. And so that is one of the reasons why you get these very nasty, snarky comments
the good old
on
dollar.
NBC and on ABC. And also you have, of course, that other invisible contract I'd like to talk about. And that is the contract where if you want access to the Queen's funeral, you want access to the future royal weddings, you want access to the coronation, how about you not talk about XYZ? And it worked. And that's why that one particular reporter who wanted to talk about Andrew in the past, her story was somehow, what is that they say? Yeah, it disappeared, or they said, oh, it's not really.
They shelved it indefinitely. Yeah,
exactly.
Yes. I like that.
Every time there's an event in the United Kingdom, she's always there. They'll bring in the whole team from Good Morning America, but she's always there as perhaps a consolation prize or whatever it is. But she seems to have a permanent gig as long as she wants it, so long as you don't bring up you know what. Now, that being said, let me get this out because Flame, you asked exactly what did she say. So let me start off with Meghan. I ended up quitting the show, Marco said. Like I said, I was thankful for the job, but not for how it made me feel, which was not smart. And by the way, I was surrounded by smart women. So she did give them glory for being intelligent women. I was surrounded by smart women on that stage with me, but that wasn't the focus of why we were there. And I would end up leaving with this pit in my stomach, knowing I was so much more than what I was, what was being objectified on the stage. And then, of course, Whoopi is, let me see, on that show, you basically have a suitcase and I think, is this Whoopi's quote? Yeah. You basically have a suitcase and they want you to know, is this the deal you want or is this not the deal you want? I don't know that the people who were sitting there are thinking about you like that, Goldberg said. They're thinking, I want the money. Let me have the money because let me see. Vanna White is always wearing something interesting and beautiful, and she has been doing this. So that's what Whoopi said about it. And of
And she
course,
also said, okay, if she feel that way, that's because that's what she was thinking. Not the
right.
people
Let me
doing it.
finish though.
That's
Let
what
me finish.
that's
I
why
got
she's
more.
contradicting herself.
I got more. Let me
Okay,
finish.
sorry.
The objectification might be coming from you and how you felt about how these women were being portrayed, Goldberg suggested. That's what you have to change because we're performers, as though Whoopi Goldberg would be up there holding the case. When you're a performer, you take the gig. You take the gig. Sometimes you're in a bozo suit. Sometimes you got a big nose, and this is just the way it is. You're not a journalist. We're actors. We're trying to get to another place. Several of Goldberg's fellow panelists, however, seemingly defended the Duchess. Seemingly. But why is it that every game show has a guy running it, Joy Bear her ass, and some gorgeous woman turning letters and holding a box? Okay, that's it.
You
What
see,
is
Okay.
most
I
oh God.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I can wait. Go ahead.
Okay. When I hear those quotes, I immediately think old school. I immediately think that because what
Yeah.
she says, and I am paraphrasing and I acknowledge I might not be accurate. I'm not in her head. But it sounds like shut up and dance. But from the perspective of you know, when you are in entertainment, there is the show must go on thing. And it sounds like she doesn't necessarily realize we're in a day where now we look back at things and we tear them apart to see why they should be improved. She's still in that's how it is. Accept it, move on. And I think in many ways that mindset kind of helped her because she was, sorry for the background noise if you're hearing it, because she was kind of coming from a position of, as unfortunately we acknowledge, she wasn't necessarily the aesthetic that everyone was going for. So I think she has a much harder internal reaction towards that kind of discomfort.
You know,
Ooh, hi.
you
Hi,
you know
Ivy.
what? You're
Mhm.
right, but I also think that there's because
Time
I
and
used to be
place.
much more critical. I used to be much more critical of Whoopi when I was
Yeah.
younger. I was much more critical. I didn't think that she was inclusive. I didn't think she included her own people. I thought she was
Yeah.
trying to be separate. I thought she was a self. I went through a whole different thing. Then as I got older, I realized, not that I am changing my opinion on a lot of that stuff, but I realized, well, you know what? She was out there by herself. You know, she didn't have a support group. She was out there by
Yeah.
herself. People came to her aid of different colors, of different powers, and
Mhm.
she just looked upon it as individual people helping her. because she was all alone. We could be over on the side saying, well, why you do this as Black people? But we
Backseat
weren't right there
quarterback.
with her. We were
Yeah.
not out there with her dealing with these people being racist toward her, not wanting to give her a part, saying that she's ugly. I remember on one show she said, she was on Arsenio Hall show, she said, you and Eddie have consistently said that I was attractive, because they were at that time, I think she did a movie called Clara's Heart with I can't think of his name. I always call him Doogie Howser, but he's grown up now. I can't think of his name. But anyway,
I
she
saw
did
that movie.
Clara's Heart, right. So she said, you always said that I was attractive consistently, but she has had, because of her looks, and she's not like you were saying very aptly, she wasn't the considered.
I can't understand. I still can't understand. Why, with her going through all this, her experience and everything, and today is today. Okay, it's not back in the days. It's today. And why she would make a comment like that? Why she couldn't understand what Meghan is saying?
But
Like
Karen,
she
you
said,
sound
her mind
Karen,
is back
you're
there,
much,
but she's telling you her mind is still back there in the day. Her
You're
mind
flexible.
is where she
I understand
was.
that. I
you're
understand
flexible.
that.
She
But at
she's
the
not
same
showing that
time,
flexibility.
at the same time, this is a person who is on The View,
Mhm.
okay, and always giving her input and comments about today. Okay, we had, she's on The View. She's back in that time. She should be out of that time, because now we have the Me Too movement and all that stuff. Okay, so she should be way out of that time.
It's also
okay?
the way she thinks.
It's like telling someone, okay, back then who came out in the Me Too, right? When they went into, to pitch for a movie or something like that, and this guy is telling them, well, okay, come up to my apartment and all these different stuff, okay? And you're telling them that, and they said, they came out and said they feel this way and this happened to them, okay? And you're saying, well, take the gig, okay? That's basically what you're saying to me, that it was okay, right? That's, it was a gig and she took the gig and it's just to open suitcases. But she's telling you, okay, it wasn't just opening the suitcases. It's the other things that they wanted, okay, on top of that, as to how they should portray themselves on the stage.
Definitely.
As people are looking at them.
I get what you're saying. Meghan was saying that they were being objectified. That was her point. She was saying that she was made to feel a certain way. She has a right to express how she feels, but Whoopi doesn't understand that. Whoopi came up more rough and tumble, and she is just like, hey, you got to go fight, because a lot of things decisions she made make no sense at all.
But then she also said in that statement as well too, that she was objectifying herself. And that's what she did. She told you how she felt. So it's like you're contradicting yourself. You're saying that, well, the people watching there, they're just looking at the suitcase. They're not, looking at how you look or how you feel.
Well, hold on, Karen.
Let
me say this.
The point. Whoopi
let me interrupt and say this. Whoopi spoke from her perspective, that she only thought about the money in the case, or that they only thought about the money in the case. That was the way she sees it. Meghan felt that there was an air of objectification going on backstage, and with the way that people were treated, and she was only speaking for herself.
Exactly.
Now, Whoopi, well, hold on, let me finish. Whoopi has a certain way that I've noticed this about her, and I'm not going to vilify her for this, because I think this is something she struggles with. She's even admitted that she is dyslexic. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but sometimes her thoughts are incomplete. And when she verbalizes her thoughts, they tend to be incomplete. And I'm not going to punish her for that. Whoopi tries to get a lot out in the time that is allotted. And some of the points that she makes needs to be part of a bigger conversation and not a soundbite on The View. And so
the way she said it,
I know how she said it, Karen, but I'm saying that is how Whoopi talks. Whoopi
Mhm.
I
speaks
understand that,
in
but there's a
incomplete
fault.
sentences.
Yeah.
Let me
And
help
no,
you.
it may
Let
not
me help
have
you, Karen.
been
One of her best friends is Billy Crystal.
Mhm.
Now, if you
right.
ever check the mindset of that man when Robin Williams died and they were supposed to be honoring him, and Whoopi was trying to work up some tears. Basically, Billy was like, he was here, he lived, he's gone, and he suffered, but it's over. You know what I mean? That's just how he is. This is one of her best friends. He is To be
Right.
practical would be an understatement. To be callous may be overboard, but this is the person that she hung with back in the day. This is the
Right.
person that guided her through. This is why she's like the way that she is, the way she thinks that way, because she's out of tune. She has got a chip on her shoulder. She still is mad at AOC for a comment that she made
Lauren
about
was
the.
asking a question before. Lauren
Sorry.
asked the question before where she said, well, if Meghan is getting all this backlash and crap because of how the UK tabloids go after her and betray her, if she's getting this from the US, as well too, because of what the UK is doing to her. Okay, so that's like the same thing as Whoopi picking up this and making the statement that she's making in the way Whoopi could have said something about it. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but it's how she said it, as if Meghan wasn't talking about herself. She said it as if she was talking about the rest of girls on there, and as if she was ungrateful to get the job.
Right.
She wasn't.
Well, Barron is right.
Well, yeah,
Barron is right.
and that is true.
Whoopi believes. Barron is right. Whoopi believes that. I mean, I don't know if she meant for it to be negative, but she really believes that, because Whoopi was like, I would have been there and got my check, got the suitcase. I don't know what she crying about. She knew it was like that. It's a game show. What she thought she should have got her money and left. That's what Whoopi believes. That's just what she believes.
Now you can see where the chain reaction would come in. Okay, as to what Lawrence asked before, how other people who are against Meghan would pick that up and say,
Yes.
well, here is what Whoopi's saying about her. This is what Meghan is, and all these different stuff.
Whoopi's not deep enough to get that. Whoopi's not
all
deep
out of
enough to
context.
get that. Whoopi's not deep enough to get that.
And that's my point.
That is a
And that is the
constant,
issue.
though. What is constant about all of these things is that when a person says something, that is just like a TikTok video, but it becomes a soundbite. It is a small part of a much larger conversation, and so it is taken out of context and it is used against a person by people who are in opposition of them, and it is quite deliberate. And so there have been many times when I have tuned into something because, oh, so and so got dragged, or so and so was owned, and by the time I look at it, I'm just like, where's the controversy? I don't see it, because the soundbite or the headline is leading me in one direction, but when I see the actual conversation or exchange, is either not that serious or it was taken completely out of context. And so by time, it's like what was his name? Mark Twain said, the lie a lie will make it around the world faster than the truth can get his pants on. And that is a very good example of that, where these sound bites are as big an enemy as the person who is possibly attacking the other person, because these sound bites are used to draw a reaction. In other words, clickbait, or perhaps a soundbite is used to help people tune into the nightly news or something. And then when you finally see the story, it's just like, how come you didn't just say that at the start of the show? I could have been in the kitchen making my dinner or something, but you stop in your tracks because you think that there's a new twist on it. And unfortunately, these things are very effective of getting people's attention. And so when I did hear what Whoopi said, I didn't think it was all that bad, but I do see how some people would see it as an attack on Meghan, or that she was trying to school Meghan the way she tried to school Monique, you know. But I think Whoopi speaks in very incomplete sentences at some time, and her intentions are lost because of the sound bites.
But I get what
Lauren, I
Karen is saying
disagree.
about other people picking up on the negativity. That's because they
Yeah.
want negativity. They've been searching for negativity, and any clip that they see that they can fit into their negative narrative, they take it and use against Meghan. And the fact that Whoopi is black, they feel like that's double ammunition that they can
Yes,
use
like
against her.
it's a
100%.
safeguard. Like, well, she said it, so therefore we
Yeah.
can use it. I
Oh
completely agree with you.
100%.
Oh,
But
black
Yeah.
on
also,
black, black
but,
on black, anything it fits into somebody's narrative.
I
but
thought you was gonna
That's
also,
say black
fine.
on
Lauren,
black crime. I thought.
well, it's the same. It is that. It is that. But also, my take on it is that he, she was wrong. She was inaccurate.
Okay, who's got background noise?
I think that's Ronnie, Miss Ronnie.
Oh,
Ronnie?
so,
Is
yeah.
that you with the
Oh my God, I didn't know I was on. Hey, everybody.
hello?
I'm at work right now, so please excuse me. And I just want to jump in and I just want to say this. I've been listening for a while and I've been trying to fit in where I can get in because, again, I'm at work. So, number one, I want to say this. A lot of the stuff that is going on is because there's no sense of journalistic integrity whatsoever. No one is reporting the news. No one is reporting facts. People are reporting for clicks. And as a result, a lot of innocent people are getting dragged, namely, the Sussexes. Okay, that's number one. Number two, let me say this about Whoopi. Let me say this about Whoopi. Before, there was a lot of people that are enjoying some of the things that they're enjoying now. Whoopi was there taking the hits. Now, I'm not defending her. I'm just going to say this. Whoopi is responsible for what she said, but she cannot be held responsible for how people are going to interpret that. Now, I don't think for a moment, and I don't know this woman at all. I just, grew up with her work. I don't believe that she has a malicious bone in her body. I believe that she can see things clearly, and I don't feel that she intentionally put the Duchess in the crosshairs. Okay. With that being said, when she was suspended because she said that the Holocaust was man's inhumanity to man, where in that statement is that wrong? But she was crucified. And even when she went on the late night talk show tour, apologizing, that still wasn't enough. All I have to say is that, listen, I'm on the Sussex side, but at some point, we have got to take a step back and start looking at some type of nuance. We've got to start giving some people the benefit of the doubt. And I know how we are. We're very sensitive because the Sussexes have been unjustly. But I don't believe that everybody is out to get them.
There's not
I don't
everybody,
think
but
that
it's
I
a
don't
lot.
think that
I'm
Whoopi
sorry.
was out to get them. I don't think that Whoopi was out to get them. I just think that the way she said what she said, okay, was wrong because she put it in a way as if Meghan was saying it that the show was bad and how she felt and the other girls felt. But then at the same time, she turned around and said that, well, those people are not there looking at you. If you're objectifying, is that you're doing it, to yourself. But the thing is, that's exactly what Meghan explained. Okay, she explained about how she felt. Okay, how she felt. Okay, so Whoopi came out and she's putting her down for making that statement, but then she's turned around and saying, well, you're talking about how you felt. Yeah, that's what she did. That's what she did. So it didn't make sense for her it's the way she said it. It didn't make sense for her to say it like that.
I
She
think
could just come out and say, well, Meghan, talk about the show and she talked about the show and yeah, you pick up these gigs and you just take whatever whatever you can get and stuff like that. But I
Well,
understand, that she
Miss
was talking
Ronnie,
about,
Miss Ronnie, and Miss Karen.
how she felt
Yes, I'm
Miss
here.
Ronnie, Miss
in that
Ronnie, and
time.
Miss Karen. Two things can be true at the same time.
There
Because
we
Miss
go.
Karen is
There we go.
absolutely correct. But
There
the
we
thing
go.
about Whoopi, no, wait a minute. I want to say this about
I
Whoopi.
love
Like I
Whoopi.
said,
I love her.
I love her too, but that doesn't mean that she walks on water.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
what I'm saying about that is she needs to sometimes sit back and adjust her
She
thoughts
shouldn't have
before
said
she
nothing
speaks.
there because
No,
the
she can
Duchess
say
was
no. She
right
has a
about
right
what
to
she
say what
said.
she wants to
Also,
say.
remember, it's a
She has a
job.
right to say what she wants to say. But
know.
what I'm trying to say is, I'm an older person too.
Mhm.
And like I said, I started off, I didn't like Whoopi at all until I started sitting back and looking at what she was going through all alone out there in the 80s and 90s
Mhm.
by herself.
And that's
But
what. And
my point is, she had to be hard to make it through that time. But what I'm
Mhm.
saying is, she is not in that time right now. And there are still hard things. Things are more subtly done to Black women now. Like what they did to Meghan, they tried to bring up this bullying to try to paint a stereotypical picture of her negativity. There's a thing that's out now that's saying that Meghan is the most educated, most intelligent of all the royals. They were jealous of her.
Facts.
They objectified her because how could this half Black woman be better
Facts.
than us? So I think Whoopi needs, like I said, she still has a chip on her shoulder from something that
The royals
AOC has said
expect a bimbo. The royals
but wait
figure
a
she's
minute.
Black
But
and
what I'm
she's a
trying to make the
bimbo.
point about progress. Whoopi has a chip on her shoulder about something AOC had said
Well,
a while ago, and what AOC came out and was saying, I wasn't, saying that you all didn't do enough because Whoopi was out there. What do you mean? We were out there marching and this and that. She missed the whole point again. So AOC tried to tell her, no, I know that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. But what I'm saying is we have to take a new tack now, and it's not just the old way anymore. And Whoopi couldn't hear that. She was still pissed. So she's got a mindset that she is in that she needs to work on because this is a different day, and she needs to understand it don't work the same way as it did when she was coming up. That's
and
all.
just to play devil's advocate, and just hear me out. I am not trying to get in the mindset of Whoopi Goldberg, but let's face it, Megan is a gorgeous girl. She is a beautiful woman. You know, and those TV models, they're not getting there because they're just plain Janes. They're, part of the process is the fact that they are beautiful. So maybe, and I'm just saying maybe Whoopi uh, took offense, to the fact that Megan had said something because, like, it's like, well, girl, wasn't that part of the gig? And again,
Right,
you
right,
so that
exactly.
so wait a minute, and to your point though, listen, for these I was telling a dear friend of mine that for the last 6 years, here in America with the political discourse, I watched The View every day, for 4 years because like I needed something to like guide me through mentally. Like I mean, just to say it's not me that's going crazy, is it? And then I can't remember what I watched before those last 4 years. But with that being said, being I would say an avid watcher of you, I could see where the resolve or the resiliency was wore down. If you had to sit across a table for 4 years with a
Mhm.
Meghan McCain, at some point,
Ooh,
Oh boy.
I
I
wouldn't have
know
made it
that.
4 years with her.
for
I would
four,
have been in jail.
wait a minute, for 4 years,
Yeah.
we
No, 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 Ronnie. No, no, no. That was the job. She knew what she was getting into.
uh,
She knew what she was getting
The
into.
irony.
hold
She
That
knew
is the
what
Right.
she was
irony. Yeah.
getting into. And let me say this: I watched when she said it, and from the minute she started the segment, this is why Karen keeps saying it is how she said it. She started the segment in a
Yes.
snotty way. She
Yes. Yes.
intended to give a jab, and that's what we're trying to tell you.
Yes.
And more importantly, she has never spoken about the podcast. The podcast has been number one in the world for
Yes.
over how much? 2 months. right? And
Yes.
Does she control the topics? I'm just asking because I don't actually know. Does she control the topics?
This was the time but this is the thing. Why is it that this is the time that you decide to talk about it, when you decide to be negative? She intended, and not only that, she was inaccurate. She's very inaccurate because
but she didn't mention the podcast.
Right, she never mentioned it before, and she was very,
she
very
started
inaccurate.
off snotty and she was inaccurate.
She was very inaccurate.
I can say this. I have to go, so I just want to say this, and I won't take up more of your time. Thank you, Baron. I think everyone is making really good points. I think two things. Whoopi is definitely a product of her time and is not necessarily evolving at the same pace as the show that is every single day requires. I additionally also hear what you ladies have been saying, and sorry if I've misgendered anyone, that's not the intention. What all of you have been saying about, there's a time and a place, right? There's a time and a place to use your platform. And I think we have to remember that we put so much expectation on people of color, women of color, especially sometimes, to do it perfectly. And I think that when they don't, we get an extra level of disappointment because we're like, you could have done it. Look at this. Like, we finally were in, or, she's doing this. Why don't you promote? And so we put so much pressure on these people to be excellent. And I just think we have to remember that everyone can't be it. Some people are past the moment when they're really able to carry the torch. I'm not saying that she shouldn't be continuing to work. That's not what I'm saying. Just the fact that, again, she's not evolving as fast as a show that's on practically every single day would require.
Absolutely.
So I do think, and this is my final point, and then I'll hop off. But, that is also why I think it's so important that we take the tack. And I think Ivy said it in the comment that Baron brought up, where we have to, or we should, right? No one's forced. Remember that, like, everything else is noise, and at a certain point, focusing on the highs, the lows, for things that aren't, this is not a war in another country. This is a woman giving an opinion about an opinion about an opinion. At some point, this is all not ineffective, or it's not like it doesn't harm. I understand that and acknowledge that, but we have to follow. I want to follow the example that Meghan is sharing, which is that she doesn't even give it oxygen. Right? That's just my personal opinion. I don't think that there's anything wrong with being upset. I kind of see all sides of this. I do think everyone here has a point. So thank you, Baron, by the way. For the time.
Thank you so much for being here.
Because I'm gonna hop off because I gotta go back to work. But ladies and Baron, thank you so much for letting me be a part of the discussion. I was trying to get in and stuff like that. And Squatties, much love to everybody, and they just have a beautiful day. I gotta go back and make some money. Miss Lauren Brown, I must say that after listening to Baron and then listening to you, I can honestly say that I'm leaving this discussion smarter than what I came in. So thank you so much for sharing your beautiful views. I really appreciate it. And Spotty, thank you for being so open to having this discussion. I got to go make some money. Y'all have a great day, okay?
Okay, good luck.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so you know what? This has been a great dialogue, and I am so enjoying it. And I'm not about to go or anything, but I'm just gonna just try to echo a bit of what oh gosh,
Lauren.
who?
Lauren.
Yes, thank you. I just had a senior moment. But anyway, I just want to echo a bit of that.
Baron,
and it does kind of remind me of like my grandfather's Depression era mentality, where my grandfather didn't really understand the value of modern day money when he would ask you to do something and he'll break you off a little bit. Well, that's the operative word, a little bit. He didn't seem to understand that these were modern times. He still thought that a couple of dollars were really doing something. And I just even had to tell a friend that is older. She's like, oh, I got to get some singles because I'm traveling. I like to tip. I say, you need to get some fives because you're traveling. The dollars, the $3 and $4 don't go as far. Start off with a 5 and then throw another dollar on top if you're so inclined. And so I see Whoopi's, her disposition is someone who has been through the battles, right? And I do get what she says about take the job, do the job. You know what the job is. I get what she's saying about that. But we also know better about how people are being treated in the workplace. And so nowadays, it's okay for people to have an expectation that if you want me to do this kind of work, why is it that I have to do the Ginger Rogers and dance backwards in high heels when Fred Astaire gets to wear flats and get all the glory and probably make more money? If we're both entertaining, how come it's not a leveled playing field?
Exactly.
So with that, yes, and like Meghan even said, that during the filming of the Suits, during the filming of Suits, that after a while she was like, do I really have to emerge from the shower with a towel falling to the floor?
Right.
Okay.
And
so
that's enough. She came to the point she said that's enough of that.
Right.
One of the saddest things about Whoopi taking that stance
I was just going to mention that
is that we know that these things happen, but if someone is not given the opportunity to speak on these problems, they will never change. And they will never change if your first instinct is to attack the person who is going through this. It will never change.
And
Yes,
that's my
we know
point.
you went through this. We're not saying you didn't. There's this thing that you didn't pay your dues. You know what I mean? And you just got famous, and that may be very they may be resentful because of that. But ask yourself this question: why is it that you had to work so hard and you were so talented? Why weren't you recognized early on? Right? Allow the next generation to speak on what is wrong, so that they could change it.
I just thought of a perfect metaphor. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just thought of a perfect metaphor. I'm having a senior moment, so it just came to me all of a sudden.
You too? You too?
Yes. It's like tennis. It's like tennis, for example. Although Serena and her sister are Black, and they had to go through horrible things, and oh my God, I remember I was right there in the 90s. They're going off this racist stuff and everything. And it's about mindset, though. Serena and her sister fit into the tennis world, because the people in tennis, I'm sorry, those are the most arrogant, belligerent people I've ever met in my life. I'm not all of them, but they just look at John McEnroe. Look, I mean, you can go back. That's just their mindset. And Serena and Venus was just as strong mentally as they were, thanks to their father. So even though they were Black and had to deal with that, they dealt with it head on. But then you look at the younger generation, and they're saying, I got to think about my mental health. And like, I can't think of the young lady who took some time for her mental health. And along with
Simone Biles?
No, the one in tennis, the Osaka.
Oh yeah, Naomi Osaka.
Right. But see, the difference is when she was playing, I'm sorry, Serena recognized the difference, though, because when she was playing Naomi, and Naomi beat her, and the crowd was on Serena's side, Serena came to her assistance because Naomi was upset, and she didn't want to. She felt guilty because she was her idol, and she was going through these. People were booing her, so Serena came to her assistance. She realized that she was struggling because she knows that she's not like her. These are different people, different times. And when Coco Gauff was playing against Naomi and she lost and she was crying, Naomi did the same thing. She comforted her. So it's a different mindset, mentality, a different time, and a different way of dealing with things. And people have to understand that the way you deal with different things and it changes with time. And I think that's what Whoopi is missing.
Yeah, and the thing is that the thing is that to Baron Flame and Rahini and one of the things that you have to look at. Meghan was on Archetypes. She was speaking about bimbo, and that was an example that she brought up to show. Well, she was part of this show and how it made her feel of what they were asking of her to do to go on that stage. Now, back then I understand, Whoopi's time and all that stuff, people had to take, whatever they can get to get into the business. Some people slept on the road. Some people went and at Hooters. Some people did, the other place there. Some people went to, work in restaurants and stuff.
I think
like
they
that.
still do that.
Okay. Whatever they had to do, to get there, they did. And, and they just had to suck it up and take it because they want to make it. But this is a different time that we're at, where, people look back at those experiences, just like Paris was doing, looking back. She took that job. She let them, she played the dumb blonde as they asked her to do and everything. And, and she's looking back at that and she's reflecting and being objectified, on herself where that's concerned as well too. Right? And Meghan, chime in with her experience and doing the same thing, right? But at the same time, Meghan is in a situation, or find herself in a situation where this is coming onto her a second time, okay, where she's being asked to be a bimbo, be less than herself. She's too educated for this, for this family, their circumstances and all these, and this environment that she's in. Okay, they're expecting a Black woman to be a bimbo. Okay, she's supposed to be 50% of herself. So here is her going back into this, something that she felt away before in Deal or No Deal. She quit that show because of how she felt, and then found herself back in the same situation again. Okay, so she's having this conversation. Okay, about how she's feeling. So this is just showing, the journey, how it was repeating itself.
Her life experience. Yes, it was a life experience. And they took it out of context and used it as a weapon against her.
Exactly. Yes. So now she's going through this healing now and talking about her experience and, trying to, put it out there about and give an experience of Deal or No Deal, instead of going through saying, well, okay, this is how she felt in the royal family, because this is what she was asked.
Right.
Okay, and to be 50% of herself. And this is a very intelligent woman who is more intelligent than the others, but they don't want her for her brains. Okay, they want her to be 50% so that she can show up the dumbers. You understand what I'm saying?
Just like Diana, that was their problem with Diana. So,
exactly. So you can understand from her point of view what she was talking about. This is not about her talking about any one of the other girls on the show who come out and say, well, okay, that gave them. It's good that you got opportunities from there. That's what you were there for, to get opportunities. Meghan was there to get other opportunities as well too, but she didn't want to go about getting the opportunity as to how they were making her feel in there.
And as the host of that podcast, she was relating to what they were speaking of and the guests that she had, and she was giving her experience.
And she was sharing the same example that she had.
Right, exactly.
Well, you know what? That's a great point that both of you all are making, because we almost forget where this all started, and that was because of the podcast. And also, I just want to say, too, that if you haven't heard it directly from Whoopi, as she said it on The View, that a lot of the inflection is lost. And so some of us who have watched it may have heard it one way, and some of us who only read about it or heard me mutter through it can see it another way. So, that is just a context that should be considered. You have to see the actual thing with her speaking it, and the way she said it, as Rahini was explaining, and that's what I was trying to say.
Duchess Meghan
and she said it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rohini.
No, that's how she started. Duchess Meghan recounts that on her time, and it's a very almost condescending
It was
way she
condescending.
started, and I was like, okay,
It
where
was
are you going with
condescending.
this? Where are you going with this?
Wow.
Very
But
condescending.
She
also,
did seem very impatient,
yes, it's as if she didn't want to do the segment. But
exacerbated.
that is
You
not
know,
Megan's fault. You should have, you should have lobbied to write it better or to have some, because you could tell she was reading something. And I
Yeah.
think too
And this is
also
why. This
this
is
this
why.
this podcast in particular kind of upset a lot of people because that it was Paris Hilton, right? And here's the thing.
right?
There I realized that a lot of people, women of color, had a problem identifying with with
The
Paris
blonde bimbo
Right.
stereotype.
because of the fact that there are a lot of men that prefer their snow bunnies, and they have to degrade black women to make these white women look good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
has been going on constantly right now on social media. If you listen, there's a lot of these gurus talking about, I prefer white women because black women is like this. So there's sometimes
That's a whole other different
when
conversation we could have.
exactly when you see white women talk about their struggles, right? Sometimes it's difficult
Mm.
for black women today to empathize. But the fact of the matter is, being objectified for whatever reason is not right, no matter how you bend it and spin it. And Paris Hilton was somebody who was objectified, and she decided to take charge of it. She
I
decided
know
to
this
take
is a
charge.
little
She
off the
decided to
sub.
spin it.
I
So,
know this. I'm
so a
sorry. Go
lot
ahead.
of people have issues with that. Coming out, they were like, should it really be her? But in terms of a modern version of the bimbo, I couldn't see anybody else that they would give that to. And
Mm.
this last thing before I go, because Duchess of Success is one, and you know, I
Oh, that's
wanted
right.
to go
She
for
is
there.
on. She is
But
on.
but I wanted to say, I forgot what I was going to say. I wanted to say that sometimes right now I just wish black women in media would think before they speak
Yes.
on other
Mm-hmm.
black women.
Mm-hmm.
Just to
Mm-hmm.
stop and ask yourself, what is going to happen after I say this? You
Yeah.
know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
because there are forces out there that does not like that black
Mm-hmm.
female excellence, that black girl magic is
They do not.
blinding. They do not like it.
No. You can tell
And
by
But
the way they reacted
Joy
they
to.
do
Behar,
not.
Joy Behar said the best thing out there. Okay, because she said to Whoopi, well, there wasn't any fat person or any ugly person or any,
There wasn't
Karen,
even
what
a
I
woman.
say
There wasn't
about
even,
that fat
there were
stuff
about
now?
three black women. There were about
You
I'm
gonna
three
getting a
get
black
up
little
off
upset
of
women.
too,
us,
Baron.
fat
I'm
folk.
getting a little upset too.
There were about
I'm just
three
saying
black
that's what
women.
that's what Joy said. Okay.
No, listen. There were about three black women. None of them had natural hair. None of them had braids. All of the women looked one specific way that
Exactly.
was white adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
There
Exactly.
wasn't even a dark skinned black woman there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There were
Okay,
You
actually
know,
a black girl lighter than Megan.
we got to
That
do
was
a whole
funny.
let
different thing on
So,
that one day.
I just wanted to say, and I just hope that black
Joy is the
women
only one
in
that
media
said something sensible on there.
would think about that before they speak,
Yeah.
because there are forces there willing to destroy us. That is what they
Exactly.
want to do. They cannot see it,
And
and they
plus the
need to
fact,
think. But guys, it was nice being with you.
oh,
And also, I want to thank
okay.
the people that helped me. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you,
no,
I did.
Rohini,
Thank
God
you
bless
so
you.
much.
and
Oh,
we're gonna get over
Bye,
there
honey. Speak to you on
soon
the other
because
side.
Yeah. Be it
yes,
out, guys.
Rosalind Gatewood is here. Rohini is going to take off. Thank you so much, Rohini. And Rosalind, whenever you're ready. As a
I'm
matter of
ready.
fact, I'm going to end soon because
I
you
know.
all
I just
can
had
get
a quick
over
something
to
to say.
Duchess.
I've been listening to
Oh,
everybody
yeah,
else,
sure.
which has been
Go
fun.
on. All right, we're waiting. Go on. Thank you for being here. Are you? Oh, I'm sorry. Are you having trouble with your mic, Rosalind?
Well, I just want to say
Uh,
before she starts, I just wanted to say I have loved this with you. I'm running late. I lost track of the time. I got so wrapped up with you guys. So
very
thank you.
good conversation.
Flame,
Thank you,
I
sir. I
enjoy the
love your show.
conversation.
I love your show.
Yeah.
I thank you. I love your show. I love your style. I love all the squaddies. I'm trying to become one. I'm working on it because my area is allied health. This is not my area, but I really wanted to lend my voice, so I'm working on it. so, so thank you very much for letting me join in. I appreciate it, and thank you, Baron.
Thank you so much for
Hi,
being here. I
Flame. It was
really
nice speaking to
appreciate it.
you, and the discussion was really nice.
Okay, I look forward to having more.
I look forward to having more with you. I love this.
Okay,
Byron,
bye-bye.
you're such a darling.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You all are so cool. Now I want to go. Okay, no, I gotta go. Okay. Okay, bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
You're welcome.
Karen.
Byron, you're wonderful. You know, I don't want to be, feel rude because I know Roslyn is coming on, and I don't want to just go off because she's coming on, and I know that she wants to have this conversation. But she's I don't know if she's coming on.
Right.
But
Well, anyway, I was going to let her
Mhm.
close it out, and
Mhm.
I put a link for Duchess of Success. Also, I
Okay.
put a link for Sharon Charday, who I think is starting in about 20 minutes. So
Right.
that is
Mhm.
your options, everyone. But yeah, because we're going into like 2.5. Well, we just passed 2.5 hours. So I
When we get talking, Byron, you just love it. So
well, you know me, I can hang, but I just thought
I know.
it would be considerate for the other content creators. When I
I
came
know,
on,
but
there
it's
was nobody else around, so I was just like, "Oh, good." And but I don't like to overlap so much and monopolize
yes.
the time. So, Rosalind, I don't know if you're having trouble, if you're ready to come in, but we are here if you can. But if you're having trouble, I'm gonna be here for a little while. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. But yeah, I guess yeah, I mean it was a good conversation, and I think that everybody made some very good points or great points or salient points about
Yeah.
everything.
Mhm.
And I definitely oh, Rosalind, are you ready? Oh, I just saw her mute come on and off, but
Yeah, I saw it
okay.
move there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been good, and I'm definitely considering everything. And I'm going to say this too about Whoopi's situation. After a certain age, like I even predicted that Ellen needed to go because it seemed like she wasn't in the moment most
Mhm.
days. She wasn't enjoying the show anymore, and when you stick
Mhm.
around too long, you really do yourself a disservice, as well as, I mean, of course, the staff want their job, but the quality of the show seemed to go into a downward spiral because Ellen seemed angry and combative, and she's always had that very snarky, way of talking to people, but
Mhm.
it just seemed like I couldn't even, well, I wasn't a regular viewer, but when I did watch it, it just didn't seem like I felt uncomfortable. Like I felt a certain hostility, if you will,
Yeah.
that was like coming from her. Not that she was hostile, but that's how I perceived it. And so maybe, like a few people said in the comments, well, maybe Whoopi is a little tired or something of that nature. Because if you do anything long enough, after a while, it gets to
Mhm.
be very routine. And then, of course, the quality will suffer because of that routine. And she has also had health troubles and everything like that. So maybe just for her sake, maybe for her sake, she can reevaluate whether or not she even wants to stay there. I'm not trying to fire her or anything, but I'm just saying that is something else to consider. Is that after a while, when people do these talk shows like that, they start, yeah, shelf life starts to expire. Thank you so much for helping me.
Yeah. So I find
Because
I find that I mean to say, I wasn't looking at it. I wasn't looking at it, in that way. I just thought, maybe she was just, off her game and that day. But
exactly,
because I've never seen her, like I love her and I watch her, I watch her all the time, and I always like the comments and stuff that she make, even when she has to, she had to chime in with Meghan and stuff like that, and had to quiet the stage down. And so she always have good points to make. So I was surprised at her response. And as some people are saying that she didn't watch the she didn't actually listen to the podcast, and that would make sense that she would come out
another great point
and make a comment like that. But it's just the way, for a person who didn't listen to it, and then the way she came off at the beginning, right? It just sent a bad message. And if I'm having my child look at that, okay, and and looking up to Whoopi and knowing what Meghan said, and Whoopi is saying something like that, that was not a good message that you're giving to a young lady who was saying that she felt a certain way, right? And then talking about this Claudia person that came in. Claudia is just using that stage to give some relevance to herself, because Meghan didn't say anything about the other girl. She just talked about how she felt. This Claudia person. Right?
Roslyn, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, please share with us.
Byron, thank you very much. I do have to run.
Thank you, Karen.
I am sorry, but
I've been ready.
But I do have to run.
I went out and came back in because you wasn't here.
All right. It's so good you're here. So you are going to be the last person to comment today.
That's good. I'm not gonna be long. I'm not gonna be long because I've just been sitting back listening to everybody else.
Good day today, right?
Oh yeah, very good, very good. I'm not gonna be long. It's been very good. But what I wanted to say was I did watch Whoopi when she was saying it. And she was saying it in a condescending way. Because I know a lot of women don't relate to women when they're beautiful. When you're beautiful, they figure, well, what's your problem?
Right.
You ain't got no problem because you're beautiful. So now what's your problem? But I'm in light of the Me Too movement, and the way that they have tried to educate women to respond to certain situations differently than they have in the past, she should have understood where Meghan was coming from when she said she felt uncomfortable. She didn't say anything about the other girls. She was describing how she felt and how it made her feel and why she quit. She quit the job. That was her. That she wasn't placing any other blame on any other women. And we all know that actors have to make a living until they get a decent gig, a decent job. And they work all kind of jobs trying to make ends meet until they finally get discovered, more or less. And but she wasn't understanding what Meghan was saying. Meghan was not downing it. She said she felt uncomfortable the way that they were approaching her and talking to her. And that's the part that Whoopi totally glossed over. Like she didn't understand it at all. Like, what problem does a beautiful woman have?
Exactly.
And that's not the point. The point, she's beautiful, yeah. But I've also heard Whoopi on TV when they was asking her, did she ever do any love scenes and stuff? Keanu Reeves was asking her that, and she said, no, they never put me in no love scenes. Because she's not that kind of woman,
right.
that anybody would say, okay, Whoopi, go and dress, But she got to understand that, you go on a job and it's how people make you feel. And I've gone on jobs like that where I felt totally uncomfortable. Men looking and the only thing they see is my breasts. There's other parts of me besides just my chest, But you don't want to feel like that. And when you feel bad like that, or you go somewhere and you don't feel like, that should be a good place for you, then you leave.
Exactly.
And that's understandable. But that's the part that it was looking like she wasn't understanding. I understood. I think Paris Hilton being on there too had something else to do with it because you think here's two beautiful women. One wealthy is all outdoors. They got money. So now what's their problem?
Right.
And
Yeah,
all of us have problems.
and Meghan has a right to speak her truth.
Yeah, it's her
Whatever
truth.
that truth is, she has a right to speak her truth.
Yeah.
And so if her truth was that is how I felt in that moment doing that particular job, then that is my truth, and I have a right to speak it. Because
and that's it.
when it comes to people expressing themselves about her in a untrue way, they don't hold back. So like she said, they will tell a lie to protect the rest of the family and won't tell the truth to protect me. Well, let her tell the truth to protect herself or express herself.
That's
At
true.
least give her that consideration.
Give her that consideration.
Let her tell her truth.
And that was not something that she really should have jumped into. Because if you feeling like that, then sometimes you just need to keep your mouth shut.
Exactly.
You just need to keep your mouth shut and don't expound on it. Don't say anything. Because like I said, like Meghan was saying the same thing, the way she felt about Paris. And I thought the same thing too. Because I'm saying, hell, you born into wealth. Paris Hilton, her father, great-grandfather made all of their money. They'll never be broke in life. Her children are going to have money and grandchildren too. So, you look at her and you say, okay, now what's your problem?
Exactly.
But she obviously went through trauma as a kid, just like a lot of people. It don't matter. Money don't protect you from going through trauma.
Exactly.
And so, but I had always felt like, she was a joke myself, because, when she did that show with Richie, and I said, now what the heck are they doing? Just something to try to make money and stuff, which they didn't need because they wasn't broke. But, you don't understand. But like I said, the Whoopi needed to understand where Meghan was coming from before jumping all over. She should have paid more attention to what she was saying.
Exactly.
And we know that people got to make a living and people have to do things. But when you're on a job, I don't care who you are. If you're made to feel uncomfortable in that job and it's not feeling like you should be there, get the heck out of it.
And doesn't it seem like Whoopi, like, for instance, I'm not a big fan of Monique. I'm not even sure I'm much of a fan of Monique. I have my feelings about her situation.
Me too.
Yeah, because, I'm kind of old school in a way that Whoopi is old school. And my old school is when you start naming names, that's the problem. And I didn't like the way she was calling anybody and everybody out to make a case for herself. That made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so when Whoopi had a chance to speak to Monique, Whoopi at the same time, in the very same condescending tone, said to her, well, she pretty much said, let me school you on how you're supposed to do this business. I could have told you, and it was all very talking down to her about, you take the job, you do the job, you make the money another time. Well, okay,
that don't work for everybody. That don't work.
I'll defend Monique and say this much. Monique felt a certain way about it, and she felt like she should have got a bigger break of what was available. Yes, she did sign a contract, but the movie did very well, and she was not willing to work for free. That's her prerogative. But Whoopi seemed to have this thing about, I don't know, maybe she feels that people of color aren't grateful enough for these opportunities that are given them. I don't know that to be 100% true, but this is like the second time I know of where Whoopi Goldberg has said to a woman of color that the job is the job, and you want the job, you do the job, you have to take the job, and it's that very much
school. Old school. Yeah.
And I don't fault Whoopi for having that stance on it, because I'm very much, if you put the work in front of me, I will do it.
Yeah.
I don't take days off. I don't find excuses not to be a team player.
Yeah, but that's the same thing too, like Tyler Perry, when he talked to my girl, what's the one that just died? Cecily Tyson. And found out that she had only made $6,000 for doing the movie Sounder. And you know how much money that movie made. Her salary was $6,000. He went through the roof. He said, "That's all they gave you?"
Right.
She said, "Yeah." Because, you know, when you sign a contract, that's it.
Right.
That's it. Whatever you sign that contract and they say they're going to give you in that contract, that's all you get. And you ain't going to be able to go back and change it after the fact. And that was the whole idea. And that's why he, at the last 15 years of her life, he took care of her. He gave her $1 million for doing the part that she did in the movie for him. Then he took care of her all the way up until the day she died.
Yeah. And it was a way of righting a wrong.
Underpaid. Yeah, she had been underpaid for all of the years. And, you know, she had outstanding work. Outstanding work. And she should have made some money. She shouldn't have been broke.
Yeah. She really set a standard for a Black woman actress in Hollywood. She was the standard bearer. She was the very model of what can be done to someone or with someone who doesn't have that conventional Hollywood look. You know, she
wasn't no beauty. She wasn't no raving beauty, but she got good jobs.
Right.
But at the same time, you find out that they didn't pay her.
Right.
You know, they wasn't paying her what she needed to be paid.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, and so she paid her dues, and later on in life, and I think that, you know, and with the Whoopi thing, I think maybe that's Whoopi's thing is that, and I'm just trying to put it several different versions of what's possible or what she possibly meant, and maybe she has this idea that if you do the work now, you'll be rewarded later
on.
Yeah. And some
but that don't mean you gotta take abuse. That don't mean you gotta take abuse.
Want to wait for later.
No, and you ain't gotta take abuse. You ain't gotta take it. When you feel uncomfortable anywhere, walk. I've done it too many times myself. If you made to feel uncomfortable, say adios. I've left and never looked back. You know, that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. You don't just take jobs and take crap off of people because you feel like you got to.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, what's that they say? You have to teach people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
And at the time, there were certain things that we just had to do in order to get by. And
just to be able to work.
Some of the people today who say, "Oh, I'm not going to stand for that," you'll find out later on in life that they did stand for something and fall for something too. They weren't always as powerful as they would like to make you believe they were.
No.
So but you don't find out about that in real time. You find out about that down the
later
line
on.
that I was in this situation. So everybody.
That's the same thing too. When when people were talking about Meghan and her first marriage,
right?
And I said it really don't take rocket science to figure out what happened in that marriage. I said not that any of us know because it was never discussed, but I mean he jumps up and marries her right when she starts to get on a hit show.
Right.
He sees the show is going to be hit, then he's going to try to hurry up and marry her, which he had plenty of time to do because they had been dating for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then he jumps up and wants to marry her and then try to talk her out of leaving the show.
Right.
But she was just getting started. She wasn't going nowhere. Sometimes you just have to pick your battles and say, okay, well, that's it. That's it. I got, we can't do this. I got to go, and you have to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Big Mama. Hey, Big Mama says, don't leave out, what is that, Money Love on Daily Pop. She stated on TV that she would choose the queens over Meghan's sellouts. All of them, I no longer watch their programs. I didn't know that. I've never heard that before.
Well, I haven't, every now and then I see Whoopi. Every now and then. I don't watch it because, like you said, after so many years, they done got stale. Doing, the same stuff over and over again. Then she puts her foot in her mouth and end up having to apologize to people. And her and Joy, they done been suspended so many times till it ain't even funny.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is that as much as I love Joy, I've also heard people say, Because sometimes Joy can say something that's kind of quirky.
Yeah,
And people
but
be like,
she almost 80 years old, so she in another
right,
she in another generation altogether.
right, and people will say the same thing.
Yeah,
Maybe she ought to consider retiring
yeah,
because,
letting a younger view come in.
right, yeah,
That's
so
what they need. They need some younger views up in there because I
yeah.
think some of them old ones then got too old.
Right. Yeah, I think that you have like they have their ages working against them and that they may just be plain set in their ways. And
Yeah.
also there is the fatigue of doing a routine over and over, no
Over and
matter
over
how much
again, you
the
get
job
tired.
pays. Yeah, no matter how much the job pays,
Yeah, you
when
get
it's
tired, you
when
get
it's
burnt
old,
out.
it's old.
Yeah.
When it's a routine, it can lead to hostility and frustration and such in the workplace. So yeah, that is something that she needs to consider. Well, thank you so much, Rosalind. I am going to close it out very soon. I appreciate you checking in with us. I greatly appreciate it, and thank you so much
I think my little lady getting tired too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, stop talking, Nana.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye now.
Yeah, what you fussing?
Okay. So let me see. Pomerose 71 says Whoopi is no fool. She understood. She just surrendered a long time ago. She has a problem with women who refuse to do let me see. Oh yeah. Okay, she surrendered a long time ago. She has a problem with other women that refuse to do so. Courage frightens some people. Ooh, that's a good one there. Courage frightens some people. Yeah, you make a good point. She has a problem with women who refuse to surrender, and that is a good point. Thank you so much for that, Pomerose. I agree. Maybe because she is in a more vulnerable position that she feels other people should acquiesce and surrender to the powers that be more often than they stand up for themselves. That is a great point. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thank you so much for the super sticker. And lastly, we have another super sticker. Joan Garcia Barron, we are stuck in a trap to have everyone think and act like it'll never happen. As it is said, opinions are like a butthole. Everyone has one. That is so true. It's amazing how we can all look at the same thing and see something different. I am constantly amazed by that. So thank you so much, you guys, for being here for the past almost 3 hours. I have posted the link to the Duchess of Success. And before that, I think Sherry and Sade may have just started. So I don't want to monopolize this Friday evening. So I am going to, close it out for tonight. But thank you so much. This has been a very spirited conversation. I have enjoyed every moment of it. And I'm so glad that everybody participated. People who have liked, shares, thumbs up, even the new members, subscribers and members to Royal Sussex. That is also greatly appreciated. And so I'm going to Ginge Avenge. And our last word of the day will be she sure is ugly. Oh, that's that famous line from Color Purple. You sure is ugly. I don't know if that should be the last word of the day, but it sounds better when Sugar Avery says it. I tell you, sometimes when I have a good laugh and I need to describe it, I always tell people they had to walk me out of there like Sugar Avery. Remember how they had to kind of walk her out, and she said, "You sure is ugly." That is one of the most epic lines ever. Thank you so much. Hello, Ivy here. Thank you for being here, Ivy, and the other content creators that were here today. I think most of them have gone to do other things. Yes, Leslie Millsap, I will see you over at the Duchess of Success. I didn't know she was coming on today. I think she didn't even schedule until later. Otherwise, I probably would have gotten off sooner. But anyway, should be a good show today, and I'll probably catch up from the very beginning, and then I'll probably watch Sherry and Sade, or vice versa. I don't know which one, but I'll make my mind up later. But yeah, thank you guys. Let me see. Sugar Avery was jealous when she said that. Yeah, she was, because she had a thing for Mr. And I think she was very jealous of Celi's strength. Cecily had a strength and conviction that she didn't have, and I think she was a little jealous of that. So, yeah. But anyway, thank you so much, Ivy. Sussex Global UK. Tisha tells. No, you know what? I'm like way behind with Tisha tells. So yeah, you know what? I did watch her recently, and I don't remember which one I watched. But yeah, I do watch her though on occasion. I have watched quite a few of her podcasts. So yes, apropos of Marshar, who has reminded us it is time to cue Gingervenge. And you want a Madam Sussex tonight too? Absolutely, we'll do that. All right, so in closing, okay, the last word. Fabulous conversation. Thanks, Baron and everyone. And also thanks, moderators. Okay, you guys, that will be it for today. And I appreciate it. Cue Gingervenge, as per usual, our faves, our Queen of Hearts, our Queen of Everything. I got that backwards, didn't I? All right, and we will cue the Gingervenge. Did you guys hear me in the background? I love that. That never gets old. It is just so powerful, you know. I love it. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. It has been I don't know, I feel very energized and motivated from today's Royal Sussex. Bye, Joan Garcia, Fatima, so long. VS speaks royally. Let me see. Hilda's Girls, Classic LaCroix. LaCroix. I'm trying to be very French when I say that. Classic LaCroix. And let's see. Connie Balmer, who is staying up late on a Friday night. Thank you so much for that. Oh, you guys, my aunt was here this weekend, and Nathan was here this weekend. So I, well, not this weekend, but the past couple days. So, what do you call it? I was like entertaining and everything, and that was fun. I baked a what is it, a red velvet cake. I actually still have some left. So yeah, it's been a busy couple days for me. So yes, thank you everyone for your patience with these late broadcasts. But anyway, glad to do it, and I really appreciate everybody being here. So I am going to bounce over to the Duchess of Sussex and listen attentively as I make myself something to eat. So long, Anastasia Isabella. Let's see, Celine Holness, Kids Indoor, Marshar, so long. And so long, let me see. Juanita Smith, thank you, so long. Jessica Foreman, Big Mama, so long. Mabel Jones, Philbin Joy, Therese, so long. Patty Askew, Elizabeth Daniels, Avita Zane. Let me see. Okay, that's it. All right, in broadcast. 3:03. I was trying to get it exactly at 3 hours, but okay. See you guys.